Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't have started. I actually need to fill water. You know, I got a genius idea.
Different genres.
So I dropped a bomb on Instagram stories yesterday that I wasn't sure if people, how much people were going to care about it, but I put it up anyway. It's about Hasan. This is what I say about Hasan.
SS on Pike KKK.
That's funny. Since our friendship was a farce, listening to him talk about it, I have zero problem discussing these things. And I mean, it is really hypocritical, in my opinion. I even sent out a challenge, but here, I'll read this. I said, I put out a question before, who's making his chicken? People have been wondering who's making his chicken. His fans and supporters say it's his mom, which is, they really think his mom is just slaving away all day. A grown-ass woman with a job who apparently just got a PhD. Like, she's like a real-ass person with a life. She's just at home cooking chicken for her son all day. It's a cult. The cope that his audience goes to. So they're calling me a liar, which is good, because it means that if it's true, which it is, it might affect their opinion of him. Anyway, so I said, I met her. She's a lovely Hispanic lady. She doesn't speak English. She cleans and cooks, works full-time, I believe. Hasan grunts and uses Google to talk to her.
Okay, can I ask what that means?
Well, she doesn't speak English, and he doesn't speak Spanish.
Right, no, I get that part. What is it? Uses Google to talk
you
to
know
them.
how you would motion. I'm being a little facetious, but he's using how you would motion to somebody.
Yeah, I'm specifically asking about the Google part. I didn't follow what you meant.
Oh, like
by
you
uses
Google Translate it, and then you
okay.
it talks.
Got it.
Like, you know, hey, last time the chicken was overcooked. Can you please get your shit together?
I thought you were saying like he's like chicken. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but with more words. That is what's happening. So, yeah, he grunts and uses Google to talk to her.
Okay.
She seems to not be on his utopian socialist pay plan, where everyone is entitled to the means of their production. She frees up a ton of time for Hasan to stream, works in his home, very clearly part of his production. She should be entitled to a percent of his profits by his own logic, by his own statements that he said on Leftovers. Judging for what I saw, she's probably making slightly above minimum wage. It just shows the obvious hypocrisy and total insincerity of Hasan's socialism. He also tells everyone that visits to never mention her for, quote, obvious reasons. Literally, what he told me. He says, don't mention it for obvious reasons. Because he knows it makes him look like a charlatan. I don't care about sharing anything confidential.
I thought you were saying like he's like chicken. Yeah.
Chicken. All right.
Well, yeah, but with more words.
I don't know. Maybe it was before that. Should I start over? Because I think I missed.
That is what's happening. So, yeah, he grunts and uses Google to talk to her.
Okay.
She seems to not be on his utopian socialist pay plan, where everyone is entitled to the means of their production. She frees up a ton of time for Hasan to stream, works in his home.
It's different genres.
So I dropped a bomb on Instagram stories yesterday that I wasn't sure if how much people were going to care about it, but I put it up anyway. It's about Hasan. This is what I say about Hasan.
SS on Pike KKK.
That's funny. Since our friendship was a farce, listening to him talk about it, I have zero problem discussing these things. And I mean, it is really hypocritical, in my opinion.
He's like, yeah, friendship is a farce. Motherfucker, like, you started it. Like, you started the beef. And now he's salty. And now you're mad that he's salty about you talking shit? Like, get real, bro.
Sent out a challenge, but here, I'll read this. I said, I put out a question before, who's making his chicken? People have been wondering what's making his chicken. His fans and supporters say it's his mom, which is, they really think his mom is just slaving away all day. A grown-ass woman with a job who apparently just got a PhD, like she's like a real-ass person with a life. She's just at home cooking chicken for her son all day. It's a cult. The cope that his audience goes to. So they're calling me a liar, which is good because it means that if it's true, which it is, it might affect their opinion of him. Anyway, so I said, I met her. She's a lovely Hispanic lady. She doesn't speak English. She cleans and cooks, works full time, I believe. Hasan grunts and uses Google to talk to her.
Okay, can I ask what that means?
Well, she doesn't speak English and he doesn't speak Spanish.
Right, no, I get that part. What is it? Uses
Chicken.
Google to talk.
You know how you would motion.
All right,
I'm being a little facetious, but he's using how you would motion to somebody.
Yeah, I'm specifically asking about the Google part. Didn't follow what you meant.
Oh, like
by
you
uses
Google Translate it and then you
Okay.
it talks.
Got it.
Like, you know, hey, last time the chicken was overcooked, can you please get your shit together?
I thought you were saying like he's like chicken. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but with more words. That is what's happening. So, yeah, he grunts and uses Google to talk to her.
Okay.
She seems to not be on his utopian socialist pay plan, where everyone is entitled to the means of their production. She frees up a ton of time for Hasan to stream, works in his home, very clearly part of his production. She should be entitled to a percent of his profits by his own logic, by his own statements that he said on Leftovers. Judging for what I saw, she's probably making slightly above minimum wage. It just shows the obvious hypocrisy and total insincerity of Hasan's socialism. He also tells everyone that visits to never mention her for, quote, obvious reasons. Literally, what he told me. He says, don't mention it for obvious reasons. Because he knows it makes him look like a charlatan. I don't care about...
I'm just saying, if you don't speak English and you're in... the like domestic sector and you're making above minimum wage, that's pretty fucking good. You know? Like I don't think this is a very good spectrum of attack because like of course like Hassan, who cares if it's Hassan, like I even have people that like a person that cleans my house like only like once a month and only in the winter. But like it's my mom who pays for it. And they're also like my friend from high school, so it's very different. But still, like you can have somebody clean your house and still have a socialist agenda. I don't understand what the attack is here.
Not sharing anything confidential because it's pretty clearly expressed our friendship was a farce. So my question is this to all of his fans who are like, the coping is unbelievable. They go, oh, Ethan mistook this housekeeper who doesn't speak English is for his mom. He's so racist. He can't tell the difference between a migrant Hispanic lady and Hassan's mom.
So I don't think that you're wrong. I will admit that that is a very funny theory.
It's funny, but they believe it's funny because it's so fucking stupid, and they all are like, "Yeah, no, that's what happened."
I could see the appeal of wanting to believe that, especially if they already hate you. Like that is a very funny explanation. But I do think you know the difference between Turkish and Spanish.
But she speaks English. Isn't she American? Or like she's at least lived in America for a long time. I've never met his mom.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, it wasn't his mom.
You've explained to me the situation with your former housekeeper, and I think it is pretty clear that she's trying to run you down for some money. I definitely, again, you bringing up a housekeeper the day after your housekeeper sues you, it is a little, I mean, surely you can see that's a little ironic.
I guess so. I mean, it was on my mind, I guess.
Right, I guess.
I don't see what's ironic about it.
Like, I understand that the truth will ultimately prevail in your favor on your situation, but I can see why people thought the timing was interesting.
Well, interesting how?
Because it's the day after you got sued by your housekeeper.
But in what way?
I mean, come on, it's the day.
Spell it out, Dan.
Because you're talking about somebody else when you just got sued by your housekeeper the day before. And again, I'm telling you, I understand that it's a frivolous lawsuit that's going to get dismissed. But I'm just optics wise.
I mean, first of all, I had mentioned this beforehand, and I was waiting to see if people were going to like press Hassan to talk about it. They didn't, right? Everybody kind of conveniently ignored what I said. So I mean, probably was on my mind subconsciously, I guess. I mean, but I read this post and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to say it because it was a response to this Reddit post here. That says, small example of why Hassan's community is naive as fuck. They really think his mom is the one cooking all that chicken. As if she's not a sentient being with life of her own. They think she's in his house 24/7, day in, day out, cooking his meals, if she has no life. Ethan obviously implied Hassan told him he has a personal chef. Actually, no, I met her. She's his housekeeper that does everything for him. But there's actually some updates. I'm not going to say it because I don't have 100% proof, but that make her case, I'm pretty sure it's all true, which I'll say when I find out, makes her case look obscenely fucking silly.
Your housekeeper's case.
Yeah. Makes it look even dumber and more pathetic.
Interesting.
So that's what I said about it, right?
Well, that's what you said at first, but I'm definitely want to talk to you about the second part.
Here, we'll get there, Dan.
Okay.
I will say this:
as companies grow,
Hassan has been pretty quick to respond to whatever I've been saying about him, not directly, but through other people to discredit me. He's been really quiet on this issue. Also, I'll go a step further. Everyone who visits his house knows this lady. Cutie Cinderella, Austin, Will, Carolyn Kwan or whatever her name is. I'm sorry if I don't know her name. I think it's something like that. They all know her. They all see her. She's there. She works full time. These people could easily call me a liar. He could sue me for defamation. This is just an outright lie. This is an outright
That would be
fabrication.
funny.
If it were an outright fabrication.
That would be
Yeah,
so good.
this would be an easy defamation.
I suppose that's true.
But somehow everybody's crickets on it. And yeah, all those people are definitely well aware of his hypocrisy, and they keep it mum's the word on it because for obvious reasons, hey, you know what I mean? They're all riding. All those people are on Hasan's tit. Let's be real. He is by far the biggest creator, and he pushes his weight around too, and they know who butters their bread. So yeah, he's a hypocrite, of course, obviously. I mean, who isn't, right? We all have shortcomings. We don't. I mean, you know, we don't. He streams 12 hours a day. He can't cook his own chicken. I don't blame him. I have a housekeeper. You know, very upfront about that. So Hasan says this about. I asked him about his opinion about how janitors in his socialist utopia should be compensated. Here's what he said.
Oh, you have different people in different units that also are, you know, engaging in hiring. Like, it's just that workers now have more of a say in which direction the company should go. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad
for me
thing.
for like a week. And on my business, I spent 5 years building. I don't want to give him a decision on where the company goes.
I think that...
Why should he have that right?
Well,
you
no,
know what I mean?
I'm not saying...
Can we all be real and admit, first of all, Hasan, going back and watching this, I was being so gaslit by his audience to being like I was the idiot that needed to just shut up and listen. He's making no sense. He has no fucking clue how socialism is supposed to work. I'm asking about like the most fundamental basic things about socialism. The whole point is about the work.
What do you mean socialism working?
Workplace, right? And he can't tell me basic fucking fundamentals of how the workplace is meant to work. Can we all agree that's like a cleaning lady who started 5 years ago should not tell me how to run my fucking business? I mean, that's insane. Not that she's not important, but like as the CEO who's been doing this, who founded it, obviously I have access to a lot of knowledge, to a lot of experience, to expertise that makes me more fucking qualified to run my own business. Why the fuck should someone who worked there for 5 years tell me what to do? It's literally insane. It's nonsense. What are we talking about? It's so fucking stupid. And I understand you guys like socialism because you think it's fair and it's good, and that's good. We like helping people. People help people, you know what I mean? But this is dumb. Let's just be real about it.
The janitor comes in and unilaterally makes decisions. That's not how
I didn't
that
say
works.
that.
But I'm curious how it does work.
So it's communication. The other person is a human being as well. If you have a major
are you
disagreement,
talking about?
then you look for someone else to work in that
He is not answering any question.
position. This is how it works.
Okay.
This is- the
I'm
only
not getting
difference
a
in that
clear answer on the
situation is
rev
that you
share.
don't
And
have
I do keep interrupting here because he's just gish galloping. He's just fucking word salading until
What?
I move on. He's not
What does that
answering
mean?
my questions.
you don't have the fear of like subsistence living at the other end of that bargain. Whereas
Bro,
like
why
have
are you
better
talking about
amenities,
this? That's
better
not what I said.
protections.
I asked him a very basic question. How would a janitor or a house cleaner or someone who's like low on the totem pole, important, should be fairly compensated, whatever, you know what I mean? Should get all the benefits available to everybody. How should they, what's their input on the company? He can't tell me. He can't fucking answer that. He goes on and on about some other unrelated bullshit.
And
So by
therefore
rev
you're more
share, you just
comfortable.
make good living conditions? Because
The idea is
that's what I'm
that
already saying. That I don't think that makes socialism unique, because we can provide good living conditions and
we
benefits.
can, but we have
Spitting facts. Straight up.
it. Now that, by the way, one aspect
again-
of social democracy that we've talked about is the domestic one. We have yet to even uncover the other much worse side of social democracies, which is resource extraction and
This is what they always say. Yeah, capitalism and social democracy, they take advantage of the third world. Bro, what are you talking about, dude? Look at your fucking life. Look at everything in your life. You are not different at all. And so much they go, so you live in a society, checkmate. It's like, well, you could at least try, if you care about it that much, to offset this
Yeah.
slave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not hard. Like, you just have to get over your selfishness. And Hasan is nowhere close to getting over selfishness.
Slave like exploitation of the third world. You could at least make a little effort. This motherfucker probably.
Like, I'm just talking out my ass here, but Hasan seems like one of those types of people who have bought into the fucking sales narrative on the fucking whatever the iMessage, is it iMessage, iChat, WeChat, whatever. Like it changes colors from like blue to green depending on if they have an iPhone or something, and like if it doesn't turn the iPhone color when they text, they're like, oh, a pour. Like, I've heard that shit so many times. And it's like, bro, Apple not only uses the labor from Xinjiang, they helped, like, China against the U.S. government. Like, when we exposed Samsung's slavery, their response was immediate. Because that's the thing is we actually approached the investigations that all this like coalition of journalists were doing together. We approached it in a manner that there's a potential that these companies don't know, because of laws and regulations. Why would their manufacturer in China tell them they're using slave labor, genocide slave labor, right? So when the list was eventually published from like thousands of journalists coming together to like investigate these companies, and Samsung was on it, they immediately responded by saying that they're ending a certain specific type of manufacturing in China. And that is not the small part, but the large scale manufacturing, right? So maybe the chips in their phones and stuff may still come from bad labor practices, but when the phone itself is assembled, it's now done in Vietnam and stuff like that. So they're like end scale manufacturing of their TVs and all that stuff is already miles ahead of most electronic companies. You know? Like, it's really not that hard. And like, I know Hasan can do it because he also will like promote boycott shit. And did he stop drinking his sody pops when that girl said no to him?
Like drinks out of plastic straws. I mean, he couldn't even do the paper straw.
Nobody likes the paper straw.
Of course.
Let's be real.
But nobody's going to like paying double the price for iPhones either. You know what I mean? I'd pick paper straws over double the price iPhones.
Fuck iPhone.
Wouldn't you? They're both very bad. They're both very bad. They would both cause collapse of society.
I don't use iPhone, so.
Okay, fair point. I think you're right. The Samsungs they're ethically
Based.
made.
For sure.
They are.
Yeah, they're made where all the factories are awesome.
What did I just fucking say? What did I
Third
just
world
say?
and imperialism, and that is a necessity
I
under
first
By the
global.
way, Hassan's anti-imperialism, unless it's China, Russia, or China-Russia, then it's like, oh, Tibet was actually a third world country, so yeah, they should be colonized and imperialized by China. Awesome. Fucking genius. This guy's an idiot. Like, actually, let's go back and look at everything he says. It's nonsense. It's the foundation that he talks from is thin as ice. It is ridiculous. And the only reason people support him is because he has this cold.
Most people's foundations are extremely thin. And this conversation that Hasan is having, maybe he should have prepared for it more, but I don't think he's used to actually being asked these questions, because he's either talking to somebody who's combative and extremely against socialism and will have super brain rot takes, or somebody who agrees with him and also has brain rot takes. So he doesn't spend enough time speaking to the person who's in a position like this. And most people are in Ethan's position as well. They're even if they're informed, they're probably informed on one side or the other instead of like this like central unsure position with many questions about things. Normally it's questions in bad faith and stuff.
Full like devotion from his audience that they like when I'm having this conversation, which objectively I'm offering really valid, interesting counter questions to test his to test his knowledge, because these are questions I'm genuinely wondering about. When we started having this debate about socialism versus capitalism, I went home and I really thought deeply about this. Like, okay, what is it that I think doesn't make sense about this? And I'm going to ask him, and if he advocates, he's going to give me a good answer, right? I think I've thought more about socialism than he has, frankly, based on his answers.
Probably.
Global capitalism, and that is the reason why we have the haves and the have-nots. On the domestic level, you believe
This motherfucker, I asked this dude, how does the workplace work? And he's talking about third world, resource extraction. Bro, answer the question.
that there is a regulatory agency that can
Because famously, China, who he loves, isn't the one destroying the third world with research extraction. Like when the rush for Africa happened, like the humane treatment was lower, to be clear. But the resource extraction is not comparable to today. Because, for the most part, what resources were they extracting? Rubber, gold, maybe some like minerals like diamond and shit like that, chocolate. Ethiopia, you got coffee. Like, let's just do a quick search of like resources in Africa. They weren't mining bauxite and coltan. And bauxite mining is extremely destructive. And most people don't even know what bauxite is. Yeah, so on this crude ass map here, oil, food, metal, precious metals, wood products. Oh, interesting. Textile. Where's the light blue for the electronics? Oh, look, here's a... Oh, that's just oil-producing countries. It's all uranium, manganese, chromium, cobalt. Like, was this the shit they were extracting when human rights were at an all-time low? And, like, Germany was doing genocide in the south, Belgium was doing genocide in the center. Italy was doing Italy shit up here. Oh, look, there's bauxite on this one. Salt, that's another one. Phosphates, maybe, but I doubt it there too. Petroleum, they wouldn't have been looking for back in the day. Right? So, while I don't think it's like better today or worse, it's a different scale of how things are being exploited. And for the most part, when it comes to the petroleum countries, it's your classical imperialism where you have a despot in charge who's not giving fair shares to the labor below. But then you do have countries like Kenya, Ethiopia, even though the guy running it is a monster, And then, like a great example, Rwanda, right? Until recently, Rwanda didn't have gold, but they've been the largest exporter of gold. Where is that gold coming from? If they don't have mines, or they do now, but they didn't 2 years ago. They didn't have gold mines in Rwanda. You know what I'm saying? Energy. Coke. What do you think that means? Coke and refined petroleum. I've never heard the term coke and refined petroleum. Russian company name. Look at that. Russia and China deeply embedded in Africa. So to think that the U.S. and the people who dominate capitalism are the ones exploiting now is very inaccurate. That doesn't mean that they aren't part of the exploitation chain, but you should probably take note of if you're supporting Russia or Chinese companies, because they're far worse. And it wasn't long ago when fucking capitalists were the source of genocide in Sudan while they probed for oil.
Make things more just.
I don't feel prepared to have a conversation about the third world stuff because I'm not super familiar.
Yeah, why? What are you doing? Why are you changing the topic? I don't want to talk about that.
Perfectly fine.
But like I can.
But,
I mean, I can
but you
give my
understand that
opinion
like
about
that's
stuff.
a part of
course.
how everything works.
Who gives a bro? Do you see he's avoiding this question? Do you see how desperately he's trying to get away from this? It's so transparent. He has no idea. He even looks flustered. He even looks like a little red because he knows he looks fucking dumb.
So exploiting in the truest sense of the word is definitely...
My dumbass who just learned about socialism like the day before stumped him. This fucking Marxist student theorist revolutionary. I don't know. How does socialism workplace work? Actually, I don't know. That's one of the hardest questions to answer. It's like, what? Isn't that like fundamental? Where's the clip of him saying that he doesn't understand how it works? That he doesn't have an answer to it. I sent that. Is that in here?
Everything you sent is in here.
So maybe it's this one. Let me pull this up.
Handedly.
Let me add another aspect to your example. Let's say you need to hire a cleaner to come clean the office.
This is literally what's happening in his house.
Podcast. She comes, she cleans the office. She works full time. How do you pay her?
What happened? Okay, it's not on my end. I don't clip this shit out and post.
Obviously not my intention. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, we're good? All right.
In a theoretical situation where we
let me go back a bit.
I
asked him literally what happens if you hire a cleaning lady, which is like completely analogous to what's happening in Hasan's house.
Let's say you need to hire a cleaner to come clean the office. She works for the podcast. She comes, she cleans the office. She works full time. How do you pay her?
The cleaner side of this is not like, I mean, I don't have an office like that, but the janitorial services.
Theoretically.
In a theoretical situation where we have someone that needs to do it, we would also get together as a unit. Okay, the existing company would get together and decide what level, just like hiring the two other hosts, we decide what level of revenue cuts we are going to take from our 5%.
Okay. Maybe, just maybe, we could make sure that comes from a third party, and that third party gets paid for a contract. And then they decide what to do with their employees and fair pricing. Like, it doesn't even have to be on the business there.
To give
But you're making her
to
a
the other
job offer.
person.
It's not really that different than a salary.
And
Yeah, you could pay her a percent. What percent? 0.0, like whatever, 5? I mean, it's just end up being a salary. Actually, it'd be worse than a salary because it's completely unreliable. Hasan even said about his own podcast, he's like, actually, we have no revenue right now, so I can't really pay you. I can give you like a little something. I remember seeing some chat log like that talking to one of his editors.
Ridiculous.
and once they
But according to him, his cleaning lady, his housekeeper, should have an input on his business. Okay? That is not happening.
Do you know that?
Yes.
I mean,
His housekeeper
if I'm being
is...
honest, I feel like probably not. Yeah.
She-
but
I mean,
you don't know that.
Okay, do I know that... You know what? There is a possibility that they get together at the end of the day and strategize on content. You're right. He doesn't speak Spanish and she doesn't speak English, but they're having high-level conversations about content.
I'm just
for the next
saying.
day.
I'm just saying.
You're right. No,
And,
there's
this
a
leads
shot.
into the next part because you put a lot
right.
of money on this, and I'm kind of sitting here like,
You're right. And listen, hey, we'll get there.
okay.
they get that job, and there are many different ways of doing this, but once they get that job, and let's say they worked for 2 years, 3 years, then they have a say in the revenue sharing structure and the power sharing structure as well. Because it doesn't have to happen like instantaneously. A lot of people forget that
Well, my problem is that in the socialist economy, if this is being regulated by the government, people can get together now and decide to do whatever the fuck they want in their company. And that's great, you know? But in the socialistic economy, there's rules that says you need to pay her X amount of rev share.
what you're saying is not true.
Okay.
How?
You want to know why?
Yes.
Because you want a social democracy, which kind of exists, and market regulation exists under capitalist formations, and plenty of capital owners hate that. As a matter of fact, I would say...
What is he fucking saying?
Well, he's saying no. I'm following what he's saying. He's saying even under a capitalist mode of politics, there are still regulations on business. The government
That's good. That's what he wants. And my point is that you can already regulate businesses.
right to operate in the.
We
structure
live
that
in a
he's talking
social
about.
democracy. We can do whatever
so
we
that,
want.
That seems like it's just kind of like ticking it over another tick.
It's just, but what he's saying is not different than what I believe because we live in a social democracy. It's a giant sandbox where people can do whatever the fuck they want, right? With the confines of whatever
Right. Your
regulation.
point is that if people want to set up their business like a co-op, there's nothing stopping them from
Do it.
doing that currently. Right.
God bless, do it.
That I understand that point. Yeah.
But at the anyway, here.
the universally capital owners hate any kind of market.
That's like how it's done, bruh. Should I put myself on the other side so I don't cover Ethan in the wide? Nobody actually wants to see Ethan, right? Too bad.
regulation, which is why they choose to erode it as best as they possibly can. Or
But
they use
he's not answering my question. I said, what's the difference? Because paying someone a salary is literally the same thing as being like, okay, you're a janitor, I'm going to pay you 0.07% of the salary. Like, how low of a revenue share can we pay them? Because at the end of the day, it's just going to be equivalent to the salary she already makes, but be less reliable. It's worse.
their advantage to create an artificial barrier of entry into certain sectors.
I'm saying in a socialist economy, there's going to be laws. That
Just
say
like
how
there
the-
are laws in a
I'm
capitalist
just
economy
asking
that
you
capital
in
owners hate.
socialism, how I'm saying the government is telling you how much you need to pay the janitor.
That's not how that would work.
Then how would it work? Because
It
what
would,
if-
it would be government.
Isn't that how is that functionally different than a minimum wage?
That's my point.
That's my point, Dan.
You just said that.
I said that at the same time as this guy. What is the point? Why do we need a revolution? It's the fucking same thing. You guys are reinventing the wheel. It's like, guys, our system is way fucking better than this already.
Hey, that's my point.
Yeah.
Well,
Why
okay,
do they-
well then,
Why do
I
you-
think
Within our current system, we have the capability of regulating it to whatever we can dream of. Socialism is a prison. You have to do what the government says.
I'm just kind of laughing at how the conversation is just kind of like mirroring the.
It's incredible. It's like the same
And the
brilliant
freeze
mind.
frame is the freeze frame view is so
The
good.
same brilliant mind coming together.
But socialism is much more radical.
Let's
We're
see.
talking,
It's not.
Can we get back on track?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting to the point, which is ultimately, I think I'm getting there, which is when he admits his total inability to address this point.
It doesn't have to be.
Moving America to a is better than socialism. And you guys are explaining something that to me sounds a lot like something that we can already do without this huge undertaking of changing our economy.
And without giving unlimited government power to like tell you who you can hire, what product, how to pay and buy for products, how to get a loan. Like, I'm not a fucking libertarian, but let's be real. What he wants is authoritarian. He wants total state
He
control.
wants it imposed, or what you're saying is that he wants it completely imposed on businesses.
He is absolutely an authoritarian. You should hear the way that he talks so lovingly about China when he's talking about Tibet. He goes, this is a strong central government coming in, doing violent retribution. It's like he fucking loves that, man.
A capitalistic social democracy one to a socialism one. You're talking about a minimum wage. We already do that.
I love how people call me a libertarian because I don't want authoritarianism, guys. There's a fucking huge gap between authoritarianism and libertarianism.
And we can already do better with that via
Use your
regulation.
brains, guys.
But the reason why we haven't been able to is because, like,
Look at this. You're parroting propaganda, Ethan. Can somebody explain to me how Ethan just wants to hoard his wealth? Unlike Hasan? Please.
I think the best way to explain it is this way, okay? You like capitalism.
If you guys want to lose your mind, go read the live chat and see the gaslighting that's taking place in this.
Socialist characteristics. I like socialism with capitalist characteristics.
Yo, you just said that. So we're
what are we
both
doing
social
here?
So
democrats.
that doesn't mean that I'm
the
no.
difference?
I still believe that the government
Wait, what's
should
the
be.
difference now? You
the
said you like
difference-
social with
The difference
capitalism.
is no. I said I like socialism with capitalist characteristics, meaning that the governing economy, like the entire economy, still revolves around a socialist mode of production where the owners, the workers are the owners. They own the means of production. They have they have a say in their benefits. They have a say in
and
what
I can
happens
fire
in
them
the
whenever
company.
I want, though.
Well, there will still obviously be protections against like unjust firings and whatnot, and there should be certainly.
There are now.
And there are now is a great, but the reason why it's not that way is because we have capitalism with like laughable socialist characters.
Dude, that's
Okay, there's one clip which I hope this linked to it. It's him saying, I don't know how to. He says, this is one of the biggest problems in socialism. I don't know how it works. I sent that, I think, this morning maybe, or last night. In the meantime, we'll move on. Let's see here.
add another aspect to your example. Let's say you need to hire a cleaner to come clean the office.
I did that. Hasan coping about the maid situation. Oh, yeah. His fans coping is just fucking phenomenal, you guys. Here is on Hasan Piker's subreddit. What is he even talking about? He's making shit up. Silliness aside, it's very funny to me that my man still thinks socialism is when we all share a toothbrush. Dude, the level of dishonesty that these people are forced to go to engage with a conversation is nuts. Socialism is when we all share a toothbrush? No. Dude, stand on your shit or don't. If Hasan has a worker in his house, then she should be making a percentage of his business and having an input on his businesses. Let's fucking be real, okay? I'm not talking about sharing toothbrushes, and I'm not talking about how much money can you make. These people are fucking dumb. They're just dumb. I don't know if I think they're dumb, and they're in a cult. I don't know how to explain it.
I'm sure they're going to love hearing that.
Super convenient to expose this mythical unpaid chef, housekeeper, while you're in a lawsuit against your former employee for many other issues. Listen, Both
This
can be
is what
true.
I was saying. Is just optically,
Both
this
can
is
be
such an
true.
obvious dunk.
Okay, sure. Both can be true.
Yeah.
Ethan just blatantly lying about the silliest shit. That sounds like an easy defamation win. Odds he saw Hasan's mom and is so stupid and ignorant and racist that he assumes she's a Hispanic housekeeper. What a stupid lie to make up. Sue me for defamation.
Sue me.
Right. Yeah.
Sue me for defamation.
Oh,
I'm
easy dub.
You know? And by the way, this post was erased after getting some traction. That's weird. Why would they want to erase something like that? Probably because Hasan told them to erase it. Probably. Otherwise, why wouldn't they want to fucking show a post about what a dumb idiot liar I am? That seems like good content.
You would much rather spend your time going after someone
Yes.
who is actually considering genuinely going to Gaza.
I know. How is that going, by the way? Is he still considering it?
To Gaza.
I want to go easy on him as long as he's still considering it. He deserves our respect and admiration. There was more, like the Mike from PA coping.
That's in here. This number 6.
Anywho.
Oh, right. This is, and you had these notes that you had some updates on your lawsuit.
Let me see here. Did you find it, AB, the clip I'm asking?
Yeah, it was sent in.
Yeah, it's on the subreddit. Okay, here. This was on the subreddit, which is what reminded me of it. Ethan and Hasan discuss employment under social. It perfectly shows Hasan's hypocrisy. He's not even able to articulate basic things. And somehow, like, I'm an idiot. Listen to this. Just listen to this.
Kind of just like a disconnect, or not a disconnect, but maybe at an impasse on that idea. But what I'll say, I want to give you a specific example because this is interesting to me. Let's just take this workplace as an example because we're all familiar with it. So I started
That's what he
my
sounded
career
like.
10 plus years ago.
That's what you sound like, Hasan.
It's getting a little petty.
No, fuck that. Listen how stupid he sounds.
I didn't think you sounded like that.
Hold on, let me go back more.
Yeah, but what I'll say,
let me go back.
I want to give you a specific example because this is interesting to me. Let's just take this workplace as an example because we're all familiar with it.
Pull it, Zach.
It's not that
So,
bad.
I started my career 10 plus years ago,
Good.
and I was successful by myself with 0 employees.
Yes.
I made a lot of money. I did well for myself.
Ethan
And
is
then,
sick in
you know,
every clip.
5
It
years
is
ago,
concerning,
into
honestly.
my
It is
career,
concerning.
I made
And I feel like I have something again in my throat.
Oh God.
It's very concerning. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Well, I mean, you've been trying to figure
I'm
out
never having kids.
autoimmune stuff for a while now. I mean,
Fuck
can
that.
certainly be connected, right?
Yeah. For sure.
I made the podcast, which obviously you all are watching now. So let's say we go back to 5 years ago when I hired Dan as a freelance. You started
out.
as like a
That's
consultant.
me.
5 years.
God, yeah, or freelance. I mean,
And
This was
obviously you
that
lived a
long
full-
ago? That's fucking... Because now we've been working together, what, like 8 years?
7?
7?
I think 7.
No, it has to be longer.
I think so.
I think
too.
it's going on 8.
Feels longer.
I think it'll be 8 later this year, if I'm remembering correctly. 2017. This year's 2025. Yeah, it'll be 8.
What a
this year.
beautiful journey. It's been
What a journey.
beautiful.
Just like The Bachelor. What a journey. When I'm going on this journey.
Why do I hear audio elsewhere? Where is it coming from? Okay, it stopped. No, I hear myself echoing. I have a monitor on Twitch somewhere. Where are you? Found it. Got it. Okay.
It's how they
Be
say
my-
journey all the
would you
time.
be
on
my forever?
Are you giving me a rose?
Will you be my forever?
Are you giving me a
producer?
rose?
I'll give you a microphone or something. An aux cable.
A bejeweled microphone? An aux.
full time, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So he started as like a freelance consultant. So what would be a fair way of compensating him for that?
In your situation, it's like, what is the most like socialist way of doing it? Is that what you're
Dude, I couldn't have stated it more clearly. Okay, go ahead. You're buying time.
asking?
Well, yeah, because that's
Yeah,
what
okay.
we're talking about, right?
It would be
My answer is that's what we're talking about. What do you mean? How would you be paid under socialism? Yeah, the fucking thing we've been talking about for the last 2 hours. Nice try.
It would be profit sharing. What
So
that means is
so this is interesting. Hold on.
This is interesting.
I do not have ligma, okay, you guys? It's not funny. I do not have ligma, okay?
It's a little bit funny,
I have
dude.
Jenna.
No, don't go there. That's not
Maybe
funny.
that's not a good one.
That's
Sorry.
not funny,
That's
bro.
not funny.
That's a source quote from me.
Oh, I didn't realize we're starting that now. Here we go.
We're not. We're not.
Oh.
I'm not done yet, you
Oh,
guys.
nice.
I'm not done yet.
I think you're right. Because
Yeah.
this is actually the most difficult aspect, in my opinion, of like trying to create the most ethical way of
was good. I
existing
like
under a
that.
capitalist organization of the economy.
Play it again. Look how dumb he sounds, bro.
Please, everyone watching right now, pull Ethan doing that exact same thing. I swear you've done it the past week.
While you are also productive and you're doing like an owned and operated media company where you are the product.
So I hired Dan as a consultant.
Yeah.
Just to help us out to get things.
And I have hired people
beautified.
as well.
So then I'm profit sharing with him. How much profit am I sharing with him?
So the way I do it,
And that is a valid question because there's a difference between like a whole percentage and like 0.5%. If you can just decide how much to pay him, then it's literally no different than salary. It's literally the same fucking thing.
Not literally. It would be a little different
I mean,
because your
practically,
your pay would be tied to revenue, right?
it would
At
be
that point, or
practically the
profit.
same thing, and in my opinion, and a lot of times worse because you
If the
risk
company
being
does
paid
work,
less.
everybody does work, and if the company does well, everybody gets paid a little more.
And you guys get paid, and like you guys know that you have a stable salary. Like you have a fucking job. You have a rent. You
And
have
I think
bills.
this is-
You've got kids in school and shit. You're not going to work somewhere where you can just like get half the pay all of a sudden because you had a bad week.
No, I understand. I mean, this is actually an interesting analogy to explore because in my particular situation, which you're bringing up in this clip of coming and working for you, I was coming from a life of living off of being a freelance gig worker, essentially, working on corporate events
Right.
or, premieres and like all that kind of stuff. And the company that I worked with, I would essentially get a percentage of the profits from the shows. And when I first started working for you, it was actually a pay cut to come work for you.
Sure,
I was making more money doing what I had done previously by a fairly significant margin.
Sure, that makes sense.
But as you said, it was very unreliable. I would some months I would make crazy money. At least it felt that way at the time. And then there would be dry spells where I wouldn't work for a couple months. And so, there is something to be said for the stability. That is why I took the job with you, is because I was sick of not knowing if I'd had rent money the next month.
And how's your salary compared, just so the people know?
What now?
Yes,
Well,
now.
I mean, after 8 years, I make a lot more money here.
Thank you.
than I was previously.
You
Yeah,
know,
100%.
Just being clear. Yeah, that was when the podcast just started. I didn't want to give. I was paying people kind of like. Because again,
Listen, it wasn't so low that it was like insulting. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
saying it was. I
and-
traded off the stability for the higher amount of money that
And
I was making.
I
at the time.
acknowledge that because as the
Why do
capital
they have
owner,
the
the one
same
who's
facial
presuming
hair?
the risk, right? I have to be responsible with how I'm managing the business until we're at a point where it's like, okay, this is working, we're making good money, and then I start giving everybody raises to compensate them fairly. You were going to say something, AB?
Oh, I was just say my bank account was negative 300 when you hired me. My uncle gave me gas money to drive here from Michigan.
Damn, bro. I didn't realize shit was that dire.
Been there.
I had a long dry spell, as Dan put it.
Shit, bro. Okay, you paid, brother. I didn't know that. I would have offered you less salary.
Do you remember what I said when you asked what I wanted?
No.
I said, "Give me anything."
You're like anything.
I said, "I'll take anything." I was a hell of a negotiator back then. I was very, I was very happy with
to
it.
be fair, yeah, but
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I saying is that, people look at socialism, Hasan and his audience who are like cultishly like dedicated to this idea, they look at it with these rose-colored glasses because you don't actually have to live it. And I'm trying to be practical about this. There are so many issues that come up. Mm-hmm. And they nobody wants to interface with it, Like this is not only is this isn't a niche issue what we're talking about. This is like would affect millions of people. like freelancing, coming in to just do a gig. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's gig. Yeah. What the fuck? And then I continue to make great points.
This will be, I mean, this is instructive for many others as well. The way I do it, like the most ethical way to do it, is basically try to make an assessment. Sure, there's market considerations on the one hand, like what the normal wage would look like, but that is like the minimum. You know what I mean? That is like the minimum. That is the worst possible amount to pay someone in the form of wages, in my opinion.
Okay.
So you have the market considerations on the one side, which I don't necessarily care too much about. On
Dude,
the other side, you have your productive output.
This man he can't even barely communicate his ideas. You know, they say, if you understand something, you can explain it so a 5-year-old gets it. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, this is what you sound like.
Output, right? Let's say...
And since I have the brain of a 5-year-old, which is what Hasan said, then he really should be, make it a little simpler to understand. Because right now, he's just going on and on.
You were making $10 before Dan came on, and now that Dan came on, you're making...
That wouldn't be measurable metric.
No, I know.
But then what? But that's important. You can't just yada yada that. That's important, right? It's like nobody's drilled down and tried to figure out this. You all want socialism and you never thought about how like this works? Like, let's get to the nuts and bolts here, guys. On its face, sure, it sounds great.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I know. Which is why I'm saying it's a tricky situation.
It seems almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, technically, the other side is also very cruel, but we just like have
but that's
normalized.
Not true, because in social democracy, people are fairly compensated. It's not cruel, in my opinion.
No, there's. I don't think. I think
people can be more or less, more fairly.
I think that's too broad of a statement.
Did I say I don't think it's cruel? Yeah, I mean it can be.
No, and specifically that Well, I guess you're talking about an idealized version of social democracy,
there's
where people are
regulations
fairly
that ensure like a minimum.
Right. I was about to object to it just on the basis that in capitalism broadly, there's no.
As it's expressed today, it has a ton of issues and it is absolutely unfair.
Sure.
It's grossly unfair. But like if we're talking about like a perfect, society, again, looking at Scandinavia, which is a capitalist society, make no mistake, they have strong unions, high minimum wages. And that's what I would advocate. That's what I advocate for, right? So assuming...
Well, an economy with strong unions like you're describing essentially is a middle point between... like
what's socialist about unions?
The point of unions is that the workers are able to collectively bargain.
That exists already in America, which is apparently quintessential capitalism. It exists since the 1950s when America was like the most fucking capitalistic, Gilded Age shit ever.
Much earlier than the 1950s, but...
Express, yeah.
Like
unions are not...
They're not inherently socialist, but it's definitely, if you're looking at it on a spectrum of how much control the CEO of a company has versus the entire workforce, the union, a company having a strong workers union is certainly pulling it in the direction of the workers having more say in things.
That's why social democracy is awesome.
Right. So I don't. That's the irony of all of this is you are far from a hardcore, laissez-faire capitalist.
Not at all, but like when people talk about these systems, people talk about social democracy and like they just say capitalism evil. Like there's so much more to it than that. It's
you
not
get no
that
disagreement
simple.
from me about that. I mean, yeah.
And the same way people talk about socialism is like it's just when people get paid fairly. It's like that's not what it is. You know what I mean?
Unions in Sweden are so powerful that there is no legal minimum wage, actually. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's all collective bargaining.
So I mean, and that's good. I don't think that socialism owns unions. I mean, workers should be able to unionize.
I think it's cool because then, like, if you want to do a little project and like, and you're outside the union, you could technically do whatever you want. You're not legally bound to anything.
It's all offers.
But bigger companies has to abide by the unions.
There's nothing antithetical about workers having more power and social democracy. Everything is possible,
but like generally speaking, they'd be more fairly compensated than what you would see today.
Yes, in comparison to the United States of America, which technically would be a mixed market or social democracy, social democracies in other countries, there is better compensation.
So here's the unintended consequence of that.
Due to regulation, government regulation.
If I'm just hiring Dan to come in and help me with cameras and stuff, and I have to cut him in on profit share, people are not going to hire as many people. They're going to think a lot more before they bring more people on.
Okay. To me, that is such an important point.
I'm so shocked that you are resonating with all of your own point. I know, it's just funny.
I know, and this guy's really good.
Should hire him.
You're hired, man. You get it all.
Yeah.
Come run our business. You get everything.
You could profit share with him too.
Hell yeah. It's so important to think about this.
Yeah, no,
it's just different.
If you're going to heavily advocate for somebody, you should be prepared to talk about it. And I mean, that's why I don't like engaging about it. I don't feel I'm particularly qualified.
And I respect that. I respect because these are not. Listen, these are not easy answers, easy questions to answer.
I've never started a business, so what do I know about running one?
Sure, yeah. But Hasan is like this advocate. He's like a face of socialism online, and this man can't fucking. Tell me a goddamn thing about how it works.
Okay, but the reason why I was bringing up the revenue is because let's say you were making you're making $10. Dan comes on, now you're making $15.
Yeah.
Right? Dan has brought in $5 extra of revenue for you, and I think that the best possible way to engage with that would be to cut Dan in on offer Dan living wages plus whatever Dan has brought in the form of revenue.
Here's the big problem.
And that move.
That already exists. It's called a bonus.
That moves into direction like you make. And
yeah,
then
well, the
later
difference
down the
is
line,
that a bonus is discretionary.
Well, you can, not always. Sometimes they're negotiated in the
contract.
Yeah. I think a lot of high-level jobs, their bonuses are negotiated in.
For high-level jobs.
Sure, yeah. We're talking about, you're right. We're talking about meats and potatoes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fine, you make $100,000 and
moves with
now, Dan is moving with it as well.
Here's where this seems more like it's a nice theory, but like in application, it makes no sense. Who decides how much value he's brought? How could you possibly decide that? If my show is growing, Dan joins, and let's say, I now I'm making $15.
Spitting.
But the show was organically growing. How can I attribute all 5 of that to Dan?
This is what it looks like when you prepare for a conversation, by the way. Because he's a genius, right? He says, I'm so fucking stupid, and I have the brain of a 5-year-old. And I'm incapable of understanding things.
I mean, he perhaps should have come with more concrete examples to present. We didn't know that was going to be the topic of the show that day. So,
yeah, well, I think in his mind, he's like, I know everything there is to know. I'm a pro. I breathe this shit all day, every day. What's there to know? I don't bother to learn more. I don't bother to inquire more. I'm gonna. You know what he does? This man has mastered the art of monetizing socialism, which is the most capitalist thing to do in the world.
True.
Look at his merch. Every single fucking shirt is about some virtue signaling about being socialist. Every single fucking one. His entire life. He makes no concessions. All he just runs defense for himself by saying, capitalism is, socialism is when you live in an economy or whatever. It's like, yeah, I live in an economy. You make no concessions, bro. Bro can't even drink out of the paper straws.
You keep coming back to the paper straws. I don't know if it's really that relevant of a point.
All right, well, here's a good one. Let's see how you treat your housekeeper. That's why it all comes back to that.
Okay.
Let's see how you treat your housekeeper.
That is more pertinent to the discussion than the paper straw.
If I'm wrong about that, let's see the fucking receipts.
Yeah, so we still haven't gotten to that, but
we'll get there.
You keep saying that, but I feel like I really want to talk about that.
I'm enjoying myself.
See, I want to get. Every time I hear the paper straw in Sweden, plastic straws are banned. I just want to glaze my country.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Well, they were on their way to being banned here until Trump just undid it with an executive order.
I remember in LA, everyone was using paper straws, and then all of a sudden, everyone bailed on it.
They needed work. They needed work.
Well, people,
I feel like having a straw at all is bougie. That's bourgeoisie excess is using a straw. Just sip.
Dude,
sip, man.
When I come back to Sweden now, I'm like, I try to buy plastic utensils and stuff. I couldn't find it. There's these weird, like eco plastic, fake plastic now, made of wood fiber. That's like pretty legit. It's almost like plastic, but it's wood.
They've gotten better. Yeah, they've gotten better at the pseudo.
We don't even do plastic
stuff.
lids anymore.
And people laugh like a plastic straw, like who gives a fuck? How is that?
Yeah.
But actually, it is important because these little plastics are actually the ones that are like creating all these microplastics in our water system and stuff.
Yeah.
So the straws, all the little plastic.
So suck it up and use the paper one.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. He can make that. He can make that concession.
What about you?
First of all,
you're the one talking about microplastics.
It is a good thing to do, but I'm also not. I'm not saying I'm a socialist. I'm not complaining about us, pillaging the third world.
Environmentalism. This has nothing to do with socialism.
Sipping a plastic straw with a pinky, with your pinky and your thumb.
As well.
Plenty of capitalists, care about the environment.
Did you know Hasan drinks out of a golden straw?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you know that either.
Which would actually be fine because that would not.
I mean, if it's a reusable golden straw, that's actually kind of dope.
Yeah, that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I want a golden straw.
Should we get golden straws?
Kind of. That sounds
I
sick.
think we literally have like golden. Maybe they're bronze.
They're probably like
whatever.
bronze or plated.
Yeah, we need
golden straw.
Yeah, and I love when you bring up Sweden because I agree. Sweden is a very model society in terms of how social democracy can be expressed. And this is the point I made to Hasan is that, in Sweden, I doubt anybody there really gives a fuck about socialism because everybody's well taken care of for it.
There's these cool cliques, obviously, but growing up in my circles, I've never even.
It's like, who cares? What do we need socialism for? We're all doing fine.
Yeah. I'm sure Swedish people are kind of come out. So, like, actually, there are socialist people in Sweden, but
I'm sure they are. They're everywhere.
In my very personal life, I've never had a friend that's like super.
Ela's in the.
Of course they exist. That's not what I'm saying.
Ela's in our WhatsApp saying we only have reusable straws, no plastic straws at home.
Ela's right. We'd use metal straws at home. There you go. Mm-hmm. Once again, the capitalist.
He might use iron straws. You don't know.
Bro,
I just don't
here's what I'm saying. AB, find this man drinking out of a plastic straw. You'll find me doing it too, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I'm being silly. We don't need to do that. But my point is that I'm not virtue signaling about what a fucking,
You're saying practice what you preach, which is fair. That's
like
fair.
the only
That's a fair
difference
point to
between
make.
me and Hasan is that he lives under this mirage of being this greater humanity because he believes in socialism and he's such a good guy for it. That is the only fucking difference, is that he says this without actually considering the reality of it. And so he gets the accolades, he gets the congratulations. He's such a good guy, Hasan.
Okay, I'll give you counterpoint. Two things. One, I remember when he was launching his merch, and I'm making an assumption here that this is still the case, but he was using like local producers and stuff, right? Which I'm sure made it way less profitable for himself to do it that way.
Yeah,
that was an example of him, actually kind of following through on his principles.
I asked Hasan once how he did his manufacturing because as someone who obviously owns a clothing business,
sure.
manufacturing in America is way fucking expensive. You wouldn't be able to make a shirt here for and sell it for without charging like $60, $70. So when I asked him,
that much more expensive,
dude, yeah, it's like easily, yeah.
I mean, I believe you obviously know more about how much clothes cost.
It is very expensive to hire American workers, especially in Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
So I asked him, how does it work? Your margin must be like nothing. And he showed me his margin is similar to our own, which to this day is very suspicious to me. And look into the people that make his merch. They are not fucking some socialist utopian shit. They make merch for all kinds of other YouTubers. They have an office in China.
Huh.
What's the name of this guy?
I don't know anything.
What's the name of the guy? Warren.
Buffett?
Hold on. Hasan
Warren
merch
G.
guy.
Hardy.
Warren something. I know Galia knows.
Maybe if you're vague on it.
No, I'm right. I just need to find the website.
Right, but maybe just come back with the info.
By the way, go over to his
Once you're
fucking
prepared.
merch site and every single fucking one is some cringy virtue signal. He sells these shirts for 35. That's how much we sell our shirts for. There's no fucking way, bro.
Sell our shirts
He would be losing money. As far as I know, as a business owner who does this, here, it's USA bombs, guys. This state, y'all, hurry up and holding a gun. Like, what a fake bitch. What are you gonna do with that gun? Are you gonna do the revolution?
It's an airsoft.
You don't even
pistol.
leave your house, bro.
You can tell by the fucking.
I mean, can we please laugh at this? This is ridiculous.
Well, this the latchy part, the ejection port.
Is sitting there selling a socialistic shirt, holding a Glock like he's gonna do something. This man is a fucking coward. He does nothing. This is hilariously goofy. Go on.
Sitting there with the gun is a little cringe.
It's good as fuck.
I want to see the shirt design though. I kind of like what I'm seeing.
Okay, well it's $35. But my point is like, can you make one? You want to see the sizes and the colors?
The flats. Where the flats?
Oh sure, yeah. Let's see here.
I'm shooting ropes, bro.
I'm shooting bombs.
It's not the worst. It kind of reminds me of like an old school punk shirt.
Look, the designs. I think the design is good, but my point is, can't you make one about like Hassan heads, Fooper Trooper, or whatever? Why is it all got to be this cringe fucking signal, virtue signal? I'm telling you, everyone. Here's one about Uncle Sam, capital race, some bullshit. Let's see. Oh, whatever. You know, it's the same shit. Uncle Sam with money, talking about capital. Let's see what this one is. You know. Don't be fooled. The rich won't let you vote away their wealth, says the guy who's selling a fucking T-shirt.
That one I don't vibe with as much. I thought the green one was a pretty decent design.
Why are they all socialistic? And here he is with a gun, accessorizing with a gun. Like, you're fake, bro. You are not a revolutionary. You are a coward. You literally hoard wealth and do nothing to advance the cause.
Yo.
Can we be real? Please. How can you actually look at this and not see how pathetically shallow this movement is? Please, can we be to peace so bad?
I think you should go back to the other gun picture if you want to make fun of him. It's fine.
This one's more silly, you're right.
He has a sin print.
It looks like
this one is
GTA
like
character.
Fabulously. The revolution is fabulous. Should it be a shirt?
Maybe it was the election drop. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like, are we actually taking this dude seriously? This is a LARPing. This is what LARPing looks like. Please, bro. Holy shit. This man is thinking of going to Gaza, by the way.
You would much rather spend your time going after someone who is actually considering genuinely going to Gaza?
I would not go to Gaza. I literally would feel less safe in Gaza than pretty much any other country. Because I feel like journalists are actually not so much as protected, but like, I just don't feel like I'd have the safety guarantees that I could get in other places. That I have gotten elsewhere.
The chat is kind of cracking me up right now. Oh boy,
Spicy.
Nice
spicy
light
episode today.
Nice and light, nice and fun.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
There's some cute pictures of Kaya there too.
We love Kaya.
I found a photo came up with my memories of me and Kaya playing in the office. I was like, I should post this on Twitter and be like, children of divorce. But or like when you hang out with your divorce,
right? Yeah,
or,
yeah.
You know, something like that. But it wasn't worth it.
I just know all like this whole discussion is gonna get clipped, and I'm gonna be sitting here with the same fucking facial hair as Ethan. Everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these guys?"
Hey, this is the worst part.
Yeah, we're not beating the cult allegation anytime soon.
It's bad, man.
With
it's
the
bad.
fucking with the voice or audio drops with all of us saying the same shit.
I hate when like in the moment I know we're gonna get clipped. And I'm wearing some stupid shit. Like, I think the first time, or one of the first times we were talking about the whole situation overseas, I was dressed up as a fucking Peaky Blinder.
Oh, no.
And, like, the kid was going around with that fucking head on.
That's the Ethan curse. Every time
That's
something
true.
happened. He's like
all
in the
him
weirdest
as Fester when
Yeah.
was it Fester? Yeah, it was Fester. When
Yeah, it's been a couple.
the
And
first,
that
blow up happened.
double wave mohawk, that was a classic too. I don't know
Well,
what.
he was rocking that look for a minute, right?
Yeah, what was the big drama with that?
Friendship hero, I think.
Yeah, it might be the. We've been through a couple now, guys. These excuses for not remembering.
Oh God.
He's looking good for this one, though. I gotta say.
With the Esteban look?
No,
Yeah, except for now
the
he's got
current
me
drama.
sitting here mogging him.
Yeah, you're mogging him, bro.
He's lost the weight. Like at least.
Right.
I see sometimes people like not agreeing with Ethan, but they'll say like at least he lost weight. He looks really good.
Oh, all of the tater tots and stuff.
Yeah, they're like, hey, wait, this guy's kind of spitting.
I
dude."
mean,
holy.
That's all they really respect.
Quite frankly, I respect Ethan way more nowadays.
You think so?
Yeah, with the new haircut.
You didn't?
New haircut.
Oh, specifically that?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people miss Jolly Ethan.
I mean, yeah, it's a phenomenon. People like content creators losing weight and then, you know.
In my opinion, it's hard to respect Ethan because he doesn't play Marvel Rivals. You know.
I know.
That's been a recent issue for me too. I agree.
It's bad, dude.
Yeah, it's real bad.
You don't play Rivals with us, dude. Yeah, cringe.
I'm about to hit Celestial, Nate. Where you at?
Celestial?
Yeah.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
That's what it's called, right? The one
Yeah,
after
Celestial.
Grandmaster. Celestial.
I'm busy taking care of my pregnant wife.
Oh, boo. I hear that. I hear that at
Shooting
least
ropes,
once
bro.
a day from you.
I'm shooting ropes, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's your own doing, brother.
All right, where were we? I wanted to say this. Hasan is the human embodiment of the Che Guevara shirt sold at Hot Topic. He is that.
That's fucking awesome.
Personified.
Were you thinking about that in the bathroom?
Yeah. You cooked on that one.
I'm having fun here. I'm having too much fun here, guys.
I'm having too much fun here, folks. Oh,
And even the name of it is like cringe, like ideology. It's like, shut up, dude. Sick of those in power? Shut up, dude. You are a phony baloney. You know? Look at this one. Capitalism is voluntary.
Wait, let me see that Sonic Youth one.
What's that?
On the left.
This one or this one?
On the left.
They're both to the left, Dan.
The left one.
Get bread or get dead. America's favorite hobby. Can you actually just make a shirt about your dog or something? Like this.
Epic. Breed me, daddy.
This is pathetic.
It's a play on a famous album cover.
They're
I don't
all
totally hate that
about
one.
virtue
I
signaling.
get your point. They're all, it's all
Every
versus. Wait,
single
that one's
one.
his dog. That one's his dog. Is that one like an apolitical one?
There's a dog one?
Yeah, go back.
See.
Right there in the middle. Down.
This?
Down. Right there.
There you go.
Well, let's see what it says.
It's like a Kaya shirt.
Like a Godzilla.
Let's see what
Kaya
it says.
shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is good. See, there you go.
Civilization crumbles, Titan of Terror. All right.
It's kaiju theme.
It's a little. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still like
It's got
setting the Capitol on fire.
But come on. I mean, it's like is Independence Day with Will Smith
but he
a
still
political movie?
still went there. He still went there. He did still go there.
It's
Yes.
supply and demand, bro. That's what the people want.
That's what the people
Yeah.
want. They gotta, like you said, they gotta rep their ideology.
Capitalism is voluntary. You dumb. You. Oh my God. That's what Kanye says. Well, no, he said slavery is voluntary, but it's completely different, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible, disgusting thing. I hate Kanye West. I'm gonna burn
Yeah.
some Yeezys. It's something I'm working on.
Hey, here, come
I
get
think
me.
you gotta get more creative than burning.
I'm looking
It's
to sell mine.
No, I want to get creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking to sell mine. So if you need to buy some to burn, let me
You know you have to destroy them, bro.
You have to give
it
them away.
sucks because like for years when I was in college, there were so many Yeezys I wanted, and finally, when I had this job, I bought them all, like the ones from the previous years, and I don't even think I've worn them once before he started doing
Oh,
Nazi
shit.
shit.
So
And
they're
they've
in
just
good
been in my
shape.
closet since I got them.
They're mint.
Yeah.
I have a a friend who has a bunch of Yeezys. He said he'll send them to me. So I'm not buying them. I'm not I'm not supporting. But yeah, we'll do some fun thing.
I have a Keemstar cup at home. It's kind of the same thing. I got it when I was young.
Keemstar Cup's fucking dope. That's
Yeah.
kind of like vintage and weird and wild.
Yeah, it's back in Sweden, but maybe it's okay to use.
Airing
I
this
think so.
out for
I like
Fontaine.
whoever has his old flavor of his whatchamacallit, that's like
Cotton
fine
candy?
wine now. Yeah.
Oh, I have that at home.
Yeah.
All right, let's push forward.
Yeah.
We're having too much fun here, guys. Let's push forward.
All right, let's do it. Roll it.
Roll it.
Roll the
This is
bumper.
something that I do
This
not
is
have
the
an
important
answer
part.
for
Oh,
either, which
we're
is
in the middle of
why-
the bumper.
It doesn't
Like
make
I
sense.
said, which is why, like I
Yeah.
said, you make do with you try to do your very best. is
Can
what
I
mean.
can I be? This seems like a big problem to say you don't have a solution for if you're advocating for a socialist society.
I agree, which is why I
'Cause it
always.
doesn't seem like it's ready.
If we're talking
Then
pure,
shouldn't you spend some more time thinking about it? He's like, yeah, no, there's this thing that makes no sense at the heart of socialism. I agree. It's like, okay. Think about it then.
theory.
Well, I think a lot of
would
people
rap-
have thought about it and have thought about it a lot harder than Hasan. He's not necessarily doing a good
He
job.
seems like a pretty
articulating
phony
that.
baloney if he can't explain something fundamental like that to me.
Or, yeah, I mean,
His whole identity is like he's a socialist. Look at his merch, for Christ's sake.
wait, hold on.
Oh, you
Is this in? It's too dark. She's too dark. Probably.
Probably our phone number.
Yeah, probably does show that.
Should we buy it?
Well, it was so. I don't think anything would be viewable there.
If you can tuck it under her collar if you want to get the olive cab. Anyway, I'll continue.
rather have an
I subscribed during the frenemies era
Wow.
and have
$100
returned for the content critical of a song. Please continue to keep your foot on this bitch's neck.
Jesus.
Okay.
Metaphorically.
It's a little
obviously.
more violent imagery than I necessarily would say myself, but I appreciate the donation. Thank you for your support.
imperfect structure that still
It's
absolutely
not
offers
imperfect. It
better.
doesn't work.
Why does his facial hair think he's Mex? That's the joke. They're saying that he's Esteban now, and then he made Dan also get the Esteban facial hair. And I think they're gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if he has the whole crew with the same facial hair.
Well,
If you don't know
the
how people
capitalist-
get paid, how does it even work?
the capitalist structure also is imperfect in the exact same
Well,
way.
it's functioning at least.
Okay, at this point, he is completely stumped and looks clueless. Let's see what the chat looks like. Oh, I can't. This is a clip. Never mind. That would have been so good, you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
obviously,
I
a
know,
big
but-
percentage of the audience was socialist, and it came from Hassan's community, so it's not surprising that they were on his side.
But like to the point where it's like he makes no sense. He sounds dumb, and they're saying, "Ethan, you're an idiot. You're a capitalist loser. Sit down and
Well,
listen."
you know, they're
It's like, are you listening?
But the idea that like the other structure
Olive and Olivia, what a match.
what a
would not
match.
function is not correct. Especially when we're telling you that even under a capitalist organization economy, there's plenty of different ways of doing
But
this.
there needs to
one
be-
of the most successful ones that I also have is a cooperative, right?
Again.
I have a cooperative, collectively
he's
organized.
completely not
podcast.
answering. He's dodging. He's gish
No,
galloping.
no, hold on. I think you gotta.
I can't-
To be
you can
fair,
do
you
it.
gotta play this next part because this is him giving the example of how he runs his podcast, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier.
And I'm gonna dunk on this right now.
Sure, yeah.
It already exists. It exists right now in this world, in this economy.
Right. You're just saying you don't like the idea of
Do it
essentially
yourself,
being
man.
enforced, right?
You already did it. And also,
For
you're
example, where we just split it 5 ways regardless. Obviously, my output in that situation, given that I am the host with the largest audience, would significantly outweigh my producers, for example, who could be paid with a very fair, very fat market wage, right? Market wage plus. Market wage times 3 is what I could pay him, and it would still be significantly less than what he gets paid now.
Yeah.
Because we're cutting him in 5 ways. We're splitting everything 5 ways.
Yeah.
And that is a perfally viable way to do it because
It's already a viable way to do it. You're doing it right now, man. Run your office however the fuck you want, bro. Why you got to tell everyone else what to do? It's like, again, I hate that I sound like a libertarian, but it's like I'm dealing with straight up China simping authoritarians. You know, everyone sounds like a libertarian compared to that.
I think that's very generous, but I don't think you should be forced to do that.
I think
you should be forced to pay him what we've determined as a minimum wage, where he can live where he lives in a comfortable state.
Yeah, I don't agree with.
So, by the way, does anyone disturbed by how he's like, yeah, we're all part of the same show, and obviously I'm the biggest creator, so technically I should be making the most, but because I'm such a good guy, I'm actually splitting it 5 ways. Dude, all of his
disturbed by that. I mean,
it's cringy as fuck, considering especially all of his co-hosts are other big creators. Like, why would you take?
Was he the biggest one out of them?
Yeah, dude, by far.
Well, if that's
he has the biggest output.
It is what it is. Then, I mean, if he's right about that,
Why even point that out? It's cringy as fuck.
I think it's pertinent to the point that he's making. That
Which is what?
If he's bringing the biggest audience to, he's pointing out that by being the biggest creator on the show, he is bringing the most eyes to the podcast, but he still shares it equal way. I think that's fair for him to point out. I get
his
what you're
partners
saying.
are not well.
There's no way to say that without sounding egotistical, but if it's facts are facts.
Listen, he's already doing it. Do whatever you want, bro. Nobody's telling you.
Well, I mean, that's a separate thing.
Pay a minimum wage where people can live in dignity, and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
Or split it 5 ways like he does.
It's like,
that's fine too.
Like saying I'm a libertarian is like, I won't tell gay people who they can and cannot love and marry. Yeah, I don't want the government involved in that either. Am I a libertarian for that? No.
Yes.
You know what I mean, I don't want the government telling women and what they can and can't do with their body. Am I a libertarian for that? No.
Yeah,
yeah, but
government
libertarian in our country is like pretty tainted with some other stuff. But
pedophilia and vamp.
Mostly that, yeah. Mostly that, and also not actually only being libertarian until you support Trump for some reason doing an authoritarian takeover.
Well, libertarians are just like weird, even crazier Republicans.
It means a certain thing in the American political context, but in the wider context, you know, being about liberty and
listen.
Fuck! What was I about to look up? What was I about to look up for later? Oh my god. What was that shit? Oh, fuck. Fuck. Come on, brain. Go. Activate. Come on. Come on. Chicken, arise. Arise, chicken.
I'm a liberal. I'm a proud liberal. People like Hasan use that as a slur. I'm a fucking liberal. I believe in liberal values. And I'm trying to... Anyway, whatever. Let's get to the point. So...
Happy fun, la la la. Human smuggling, fentanyl deaths, forced government euthanasia,
Okay, well, hold the phone. That's not part of my liberal platform.
Very liberal, to be honest.
Children's genitals,
Hold the phone, Alex. That is not part of my platform.
What a loving liberal.
Don't you need to administer aid to some like car accident or something? Busy yourself, Alex.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've pretty much cleared.
Bro, you have different
clearly
people
seen
in different
his opinion
units.
on what his how his housekeeper should be compensated and included in his business. Like, there's no.
Right, you've laid that all out.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
can we talk about your second Instagram story?
Yeah. So let's do that because you're dying for it.
I'm dying to talk to you about this.
Well, where is it?
This story's. I think they're both together.
Just
in an album.
What number? Yeah, they should be.
1 in this section.
Oh no, I don't think it is because I was looking through there and
it is.
So there's this one.
Come on.
Oh, I guess
brain.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
So then,
yeah, this is the one.
So after I tweeted this, with my claim, everyone's like, "Oh, he's lying. He can't tell the difference between Hasan's mom and a Hispanic cleaning lady. He's so
You did say you haven't met his mom.
racist."
Right.
So this is what I said. On top of being totally vulnerable to defamation lawsuit, I also said this. I'll even take it a step further. I bet me, Ethan Klein, the capitalist, pays his housekeeper more than Hasan. She has health insurance, vision, dental, 401k, paid vacation, 6 days, and a very good salary, I will donate $100,000 to charity. If Hasan can simply prove to me that he pays his housekeeper more than me. And according to his life, his ethos on business, that he should be easily clearing that. She should be easily clearing that.
Right. Probably. And that's $100,000 is a lot of money.
I will happily donate that. I want to help out.
For something that you don't actually know for sure.
Well, then, yeah, you're right. It's crazy. He should just prove me wrong. You're right. I mean, you know, like...
That was my, when I saw this, I was like, Jesus, dude.
Well, I'm making a point.
Uh-huh. I mean, it will be a little embarrassing if you're wrong.
Sure, it'll be embarrassing. And wouldn't that be great for him? You get embarrassed.
I mean, obviously, you're very confident and you're willing to stand on it. You're putting a lot of money on the line. I was a little shocked by this. I was like, you better be right, dude.
You're absolutely right, Dan. Not only would I be embarrassed, I would apologize. I will donate the money, and I'll look like an idiot, which is something that I'm willing to accept if I'm wrong.
Okay.
If he is actually including his housekeeper in a socialistic way, as he described, then I will gladly live to
Well, what's the bar? Does she need to get profit share, or
well, according to him,
he just needs to pay her better than you?
Well, I guess, yeah, it just says better.
Okay.
Including all the benefits. Although, frankly, it should be that she's including her in like the socialistic way that he says it is.
Too late.
Too late.
I mean, either way, I'm confident.
Okay.
I reacted the same way as Dan. Like,
there you go. Then I guess
it's like a maybe 30% chance that he might be paying her more than you.
Then it's a great statement. Then I'm making a good point. If you guys look into, oh God, I can't believe he's risking that. Then great. Then I'm making my point heard.
Fair.
Can I say it is a funny thing to go band for band for? You know, just salary.
I think the housekeeper getting the short end here. It should be that you raise it.
I'll give the money to his housekeeper. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
How about
That's
even if,
nice.
since the 100K is already set aside, how about even if you're right?
It's not set aside.
I mean, you have to technically set it aside.
It's not set aside.
There's a chance you lose it.
You put it on the line. It should go into some sort of escrow.
well,
you know who we should contact? Is Rent from Book It with Rent.
Yeah.
He's the bookie that was playing at the poker game the other day. Let's have him do the escrow. Handle all this.
Man alive.
He'll triple your money, dude.
Hi, ducks. All right. So anyway, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty bold.
Somebody pointed out it's 2 fancy chefs.
That's a lot of money.
Fancy chef was $50,000. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, now someone pointed out 100,000 is now one Hasan.
Ooh.
We have a new measurement.
It would be one Hasan housekeeper or something like that.
I mean, sure, if you want to split hairs.
I mean,
we gotta be.
You can title it however you like.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess we'll see.
So, like, if you're Hasan and I'm lying, first of all, easy dub, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet, he's been so eager to talk about things. Right now, he hasn't mentioned this. He's ignored it. In fact, he hasn't even mentioned me, as far as I know, the past couple of days, which is kind of a fresh take for him. And again, all of his friends who go to his house regularly to shoot the podcast, to go visit him, do the stream, whatever, they can all just say, I have never seen this woman before. I mean, if they're... I assume that at least one of them wouldn't be comfortable lying about it. I don't think I think they're all good people of good moral fiber. I don't think any of them will lie. But I could be wrong. Maybe one of them will lie. I don't know. So it doesn't matter what they say. But still, their silence speaks volumes.
You're arguing with yourself.
Their silence. I'll say this for now. Their silence speaks volume.
Well, it's been a day.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm one of his friends, I don't want to lie for Hasan because, first of all, I'm not a liar. I don't believe in lying. And second of all, because if this ever gets proven, right, that I didn't lie. To put it back.
Well, you didn't lie, but I think he's just holding. Oh,
why you put it up again?
Well, the fact that you said that you're not a liar when there is an existing lie counter.
Oh,
kind
why
of.
does it lie?
Just because there's a lie counter doesn't mean I'm a liar. It just means that Nate's a
little nitpicker.
He's a insolent employee.
I'm shooting ropes,
insolent.
bro. I'm just doing
we
my
told
job.
you a million times to stop, Nate.
That's not even me.
Stop shooting ropes all over the office, bro.
My desk
Not
is
sanitary.
sticky, Nate. Like, come on.
That's from you, bro.
Nah, this is what you're right, brother.
So yeah, that's my point. You know what I mean? Like the dude is such a fucking phony, hypocrite loser.
We have a generous donation from your wife.
My tummy hurts.
I sent it.
She gave. Why are you giving money to YouTube? She says, "Oh, Gallia sent you the receipts I was looking for."
I sent it in the Discord earlier when you.
Yeah, this says Son is clearly only doing the socialism split on his side podcast though, which is with other influencers anyway. So that's a way easier decision. And what about the main business though of streaming? That's my point. Yeah, exactly.
Just not to fact check you, Hila, but their producer gets a cut too. As far as I know, is not like a public figure.
So my point with the cleaner is this. Again, not to diminish the work. It's all important. But as far as like this is someone who can come in without experience, without prior skills and stuff, and come in and do like a menial. What does menial mean? Is that like insulting? I'm not trying not to insult the work because I think it's fine. But
right.
The point is they are low on the totem pole, right? They would make less, and they would have less authority than pretty much anyone else in the business, just by the nature of their work.
The definition of menial is work that is boring, according to dictionary.com.
Really?
Well, that's like kind of like the short and quick one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll bank that.
There's a few definitions. Work.
Amy, why did you define
education.
medial?
Situated in the middle.
AB, why did you define medial?
I figured we needed a laugh.
Situated in the middle. What's situated in the middle?
Me.
Well, you asked for the definition, dude.
Not of medial. Stuck. Hey, thank you, love. Love screenshot it.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It was good. I appreciate it, though.
I mean, I appreciate the haste, but medial. Okay, so actually, I didn't know this word, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
Medial.
I thought
situated in the middle. Okay, I actually didn't know that. Medial.
That's what I do, baby. I lighten the mood.
I didn't know that word either. I'm a English is my second language, and it's just helping out. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I still don't know what my brain wanted to look up.
No. I didn't do that. All right. So anyway, that's my shit. I'm standing on it. Easy to fucking dispute.
You're
just do it.
standing on shit?
Mike from PA. This guy's such a lunatic.
Racist, like literally.
Bro, remember when Mike from PA dated that girl who was like the worst and would yell at people about $5, and she just like emasculated him constantly and was constantly just like verbally abusive to him and he didn't do anything about it?
Like he doesn't.
Here he is addressing the story, and then also calling the lawyer that represents my housekeeper.
Like, bro is either a simp, weak and just tolerated it, because he's like, has issues with like breaking up or conflict or something like that. Or he has a humiliation fetish. And if he does have a humiliation fetish, a lot more about Mike from PA does make sense to me.
My ex-housekeeper to apparently give them dirt that he has.
His legal advice, huh?
Which is ironic considering he actually lied about being a lawyer to get elected and was removed by a judge and disgraced. I think it was in Pennsylvania.
That's
I believe
awesome.
that's accurate.
Yeah. I read the filings the other. I was just reading through it.
I didn't know
it's
that.
very embarrassing.
That's fucking
He's really
great.
just an embarrassing human being.
Just like literally, like he doesn't know what Turkish people look like, so he's just calling Hasan's mom a Hispanic lady. Also,
dude, can we please just reflect on the cope? I mean, you're not serious.
Again, if that was what happened, that is very funny.
Couch puncher?
So I get why they're.
Yeah,
that's
being
like the
serious.
one. No, I know that
They're
being
actually
serious.
running defense for him.
And I agree that I suspect that you know the difference between Turkish and Hasan's mom and
well,
a Mexican
I mean, he introduced
leaning lady.
me. I asked him we had a conversation about her. So unless Hasan talks about his own mom as a Latino housekeeper,
Latina.
Latina.
So
Well,
the idea of like he's just making bullshit accusations to distract from the fact he's being.
This is what I've talked about a long time. Is the people will rush to Hassan's defense, like Emma did with his Hezbollah take, and then Hasan will like totally backtrack and shit, and like, guys, just wait for him.
Sued for being a terrible employer.
Once again, when I'm criticized, I take it head on. I address this immediately and on the show. And I'll continue to talk about it as updates come.
What a fucking scumbag. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm sure they know this, but I'm gonna call up the attorneys of that lawsuit.
This is actually
and let them know, just to make sure they're like. I'm assuming they're aware, but
what is
honestly,
it he's going to tell them?
It might not be.
Okay, just so you guys know, Ethan doesn't know the difference between Turkish people and a Hispanic lady.
I think he explains what I think it had to do with something you said about the housekeeper on the show the other day.
All right, let's see.
Like, his show would be kind of useful for them. So I'm going to do that real quick.
There's like a clip online of me being doing like a silly voice that was a long time ago. I wasn't talking about anyone or anything. I literally say in the clip that it's fictitious, and Eva goes, she doesn't have an accent. I was like literally stated in the clip that I was joking and it wasn't real.
What would that have to do with the current situation?
I think that's what he's talking about. But let's just play it and listen, Dan.
Yeah, maybe.
I gave a call over to her. I gave a call. I talked to them, and they're going to be looking into it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were right on that.
I'm sure they were captivated.
Actually, reach out to the attorneys and be like, "Hey, the guy you're suing is like defaming your client and talking about the case."
Yeah, I know you're.
I think
I know you're a self-proclaimed lawyer. I know you're a lawyer, but you can actually talk about the case. It's not in violation of anything, especially when you're telling the truth, Mike, which you have a problem doing, especially on official filings. You outright lied, and you were removed by a judge with extreme prejudice. Very embarrassing stuff.
I don't know if it's embarrassing. I think
should
it's kind of
probably
cool.
take a look at that.
Yes.
I gave them a heads up.
Yeah, and like he said, everybody, see, it's like he's encouraging everyone to call, which I think is funny.
Please harass my enemies.
Please harass my enemy's attorney with
opposing
counsel. I have this insider information about Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, join the cause. Call her lawyers today and give them exclusive information about me.
We had another dono from your wife, Hila Klein, by the way.
Honestly,
another $10. She's just forking it over to YouTube today.
Hila, stop it.
I should do like an H3 snark day.
Oh, that was my idea. He's saying that because I said I want to do a Mike from PA day. Well, we can have dueling snark days. How about that?
Snark off. Hila said, does Hasan pay his mods? Just asking for a friend. Her name is Frogan, and she's struggling with rent.
Hasan has a mod who was recently on stream begging for rent money. Begging for rent money. And she does a lot of work for Hasan. She moderates his show. She's in his Discord. She's kind of at his beck and call. And why is she begging for rent money? Why? Why? And the words of Joe Biden.
I do not know if Hasan pays his mods.
Well, clearly, if he does, it's not enough to pay rent.
I do know.
I don't think he does. No, he stated publicly he doesn't pay them. I think. I'm pretty sure. In Minecraft.
That is.
I think.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, okay.
you can fact check that. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, what I know is that we pay our mods.
I pay them pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
They're probably one of the best paid mods in the game.
Maybe, yeah.
I love my mods. I love them.
And they're the best mod because they're the best mods in the game.
They deserve it. Yeah, of course. That's what I have to say about that.
Somebody in the chat says Dan glazing Hassan crazy. Come on, I'm not
No, he
glazing
wasn't.
him.
I'm a defend.
I'm gonna
not glazing.
I'm gonna push back where I feel like pushing back.
Look,
I mean,
it's good
that's-
for the
you know what I mean?
conversation
Yeah.
because then I get an opportunity
Relax.
to flesh out my views.
There you go.
Yeah. Because Hassan, like other people are going to say the same thing. It's good to address it on the show. It's way better for the conversation. Dan is not glazing Hassan. Stop it.
And said, save it for the show.
Stop it. Stop it.
So that's it, I guess. Is that
I'm
it?
seeing that it is well known that he does not pay his mods. I mean, you should pay your mods, bro. Come on.
Especially if they're on stream begging for
Like-
rent. She's begging for rent. Do you think he even
mean,
reached out to be like, yo, do you need help?
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what their relationship is like, but I do know that I think it's right to pay your mods.
You know, someone pointed out something really funny to me. This whole conflict with her started when she complained that I unfollowed her on Twitter. Hassan does not follow her on any of his social medias.
Okay.
Kind of interesting.
If you say so.
Hassan, do you why not follow Frogan on? I mean, that's the least you could do for her.
Mm-hmm.
Just mm-hmm. Seems like he's dodging.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was something else really funny, but
Another tale from Reddit.
Please. We got to actually. We're 2.5 hours into the show. We only have an
This is
hour
my
left.
new favorite
This is gonna
hobby.
be, this is going to be a big.
Chinese state propaganda enjoyer with a picture of me said, Ethan Klein, go back to Israel, bitch, and become a red triangle along with your wife, which is a little antithetical to the whole anti-Zionist thing, if you're trying to get me there. But the purpose of getting me back there is to get me killed by Hamas. That's what the red triangle means. This, this is the kind of comment that it's really incredible to me, especially when if you click their profile, they actually are a public. They're on Twitch and TikTok. Here he is on TikTok. Let's take a look.
TikTok.
At this person wishing death on me.
Feminism is a scam. A few years
I
ago,
don't think
I was an
that's
angry,
them.
blue-haired feminist.
If
Oh, there.
feminism is a scam, then maybe you should consider quit TikTok, move to a conservative Muslim or Christian country where women will not gain the right to work or the right to vote or the right to even drive a car, and consider making a sandwich for
The
me.
issue is those countries aren't white Protestant.
Now, I assume he's defending feminism, but it really didn't feel like that. It really didn't feel like that.
I think it's satirical. I think is what he was going
Yeah,
for.
but
I'm sorry, I just make a quick correction. He does follow. Hassan follows Frogan on Twitter.
Oh, but not on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fair enough. Instagram's where he really follows people he cares about. He still follows me on Instagram.
Well, then maybe that's not
Maybe
true
the
at all,
opposite,
actually.
actually.
Yeah.
I still follow him. I don't think I unfollowed him. I'm
Wow.
traumatized.
Leaving that door open.
No, that's not why.
Uh,
That door is
Brennan,
padlocked.
KKK.
Look at this fucking idiot. This guy wants me to die. Let's see what this one is.
1 cup of that heavy whipping cream, y'all. The British Empire came to our lands, stole our food, stole our culture. Masala and Nando's are British food, and had the gall to claim me. Come on, man. He's just baiting y'all.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
1 cup of that heavy whipping.
All right. Wow. True.
It's insightful.
Oh shit. He talked about my boy. I love this guy.
Think about this.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay, 300 dudes. Everybody nets $1 million a year, which is super.
Yo, bro, become a millionaire, bro. It's so easy, bro. Just make $1 million, bro. Just find 300 people, bro. Just do NFTs, bro.
Think about this.
It could use work. It could use work on the comedy side. He's trying though. He's trying.
Why is he obsessed with me? Why am I in your like? He's and his white woman enjoyer, grad student of European and I don't know what the fuck
Because
that
he's
is.
Crazy. Fucking
Grad
wild.
student of European and North American history, streamer on Twitch. He follows Hassan and all that. Yeah, he's in the Haas tweet. So this is a Hassan fan.
Interesting. Well, maybe work on the act a little bit.
Why
I like the angle, but the execution wasn't really good. And maybe pull back on making the death threats on a public social media account too. Would be my advice.
Just also,
Ultimately,
why are
it'll
you
lead to more
obsessed
white
with-
women? I think. If
You think so?
adheres
And that's
to those
giving
rules,
that's
yeah.
giving Casey, Comrade Casey.
Right.
He's just obsessed with Arab women or Muslim women.
Right.
A bodacious Habibi or whatever you said.
Yep, that is what he said.
Please stop using my photo. It's very creepy.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. And I
Dude,
think that's
Olive is
it.
coming after just my side of the carpet for some reason.
Oh God!
But she's so sweet though. No,
Yeah.
not peeing. She's
No,
just,
no,
just
she's a
biting.
chewer. She chews
Yeah,
carpet,
she's
yeah.
chewing. She's so sweet though. She's so much more playful with me than the other two
She
are.
is so sweet. She's
Yeah.
so cute. I don't know if it's just the Labrador thing because she's like a black lab. And I think the terriers are just such divas.
Yeah.
I still haven't found a sound for her.
Oh my god, I
Shaken,
love her
not stirred.
so much, bro.
She
She's
is
so cute.
She is so sweet and she's so sweet.
Also, I'm not crazy. Leslie, she sees our dog in her too.
Here we go. Nate always says that he sees his dog when he looks in her
Can we get a
eye.
picture of Nate's dog? It's like a
Yeah,
little
let me
chihuahua.
send it. It's literally my dog.
They
bro.
have they're twin flames, Olive and Milk.
Dude, Milk is like 10 of her.
Yeah.
exactly
Milk?
the same, bro.
It's Milk?
Yeah, it's Milk.
Yeah,
Is
her
that
name's
like the
Milk.
is that like the movie about the dude with cancer?
Milk?
Is that about a movie about
You
a
thinking
dude?
of Harvey Milk?
Yeah, what is it? Was Harvey Milk?
He's a pro
He's
gay,
civil rights
gay activist. yeah.
icon.
Yeah.
I think of white women.
when I
think
hear
of-
milk. This was funny too.
together.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Snark and YouTube drama, and now faux. How do you say that? Faux moi.
I don't.
Faux moi is absolutely overrun by these Hasan Snarker fucking freaks. They had this post on. They posted
What?
the lawsuit and all this stuff, which I guess is
moi?
fine. I guess it's drama
What?
at least. They had a post on there that was so dumb. Oh yeah, if Hila, when she was upset that this artist unfollowed her, or no, they don't. He refused to collaborate. Someone that she's friends with. That was, I think, what upset her is that she's friends with this person. This is a friend of hers that is like all of a sudden I don't like you and I don't want to work with you. Yeah, yeah, she's upset. Yeah, got 3,500 points on faux moi. And all the it's like literally
What?
neo-Nazi forum, like indistinguishable from neo-Nazis.
I don't.
So anyway, what
does
the
it
ironic
mean?
part about this is that when someone posts, this is the comment. This person was permanently banned. Their comment was, no one literally has looked into anything he has actually said. Y'all are so quick to defame someone. He's donated pro-parity chairs. He always condemns Israeli government. He even went on a raid once. She was unarmed and never said she enjoyed it. Also, if you're 18 and live in Israel, it's mandatory to serve. Like, what was she supposed to do? She never saw combat once. She worked on a computer in an office, but no one gives a shit about that, right? Because she's from Israel. Banned. Why would she be banned for that? And faux moi. It's gotten insane. Yeah, it's gotten insane. I can't wait till I find out who the snarkers are.
Okay.
Because I'm going to sue them. Get in line, baby.
Ethan, please learn from history. Please learn from history. Do not be a guy who says he's going to sue Redditors.
Ah, they should be worried. I know they're very paranoid. They should be. You'd be surprised how paranoid these snarkers are.
I assume he's being sarcastic about all of this. Because this can't be that stupid.
The mods, anyway. The head snarkers. They should be paranoid. Anyway, let's move on. So we can move on now. Thank you.
I sent pictures of milk, by the way. If you want to show
Oh wait, sorry. I forgot to go over the receipts that Dan sent me. This is actually really good. Where is it? No,
The
you
Reddit post.
You should have posted. You should have.
Another tale from Reddit.
So this is the guy who makes Hasan's merch, Warren James
Hardy.
Incorporated. He makes a lot. No, I don't. You know, you cannot track my cookies. He makes merch for a whole bunch of guys.
So
you
no,
can see
cookies for
Hasan
you?
is in there. Good. I mean, a lot of guys. If you go down to the bottom, look at all these. If you go to the bottom, of this lovely website and all the people they work with.
These people look sick, dude.
Keep going. USA office is in Santa Monica.
Okay.
Chinese office.
USA.
Why the fuck would they have a Chinese office? Can you please tell me why they would have a Chinese office in Guangzhou, China, in the Panyu district?
Probably because they produce a lot of the clothing in China, would be my guess. Now, you don't know for sure that they do that for all of their clothing. But your point is taken. The $35 shirt, I mean, you who knows a lot more about it than me, say that is likely impossible.
And we would love
all
to
domestic
source it in America and have it all be American made. But like at the end of the day, you guys don't want to pay fucking $80 for a t-shirt either. You know, it's like you're kind of in a catch-22 with it.
Where's the subway?
So I don't know. I'd like to know why they have an office in China while also being America First allies of Hasan's. Anyway, who knows? China. In China. Anywho. Oh, so what do you guys want to do? I have the Stephen Smith thing, which is funny. Oh, God, we have so much shit. Let's do the stories because it's in the title.
We gotta move on.
I was having fun, but let's move on now. We can at least do one. Is there one?
No. There isn't. Sorry. I actually don't know. I just don't care. I only wanted to hear him talk about Hasan's housekeeper. I mean, who doesn't have a housekeeper? Am I right? Am I right? Eh? Eh? If this starts running shitty, I will flip to OBS. Because it didn't actually end the streams. It kept them all in one chunk. You know, it said streaming for 15 hours, even though we broke it up. Or something. Or maybe I haven't looked right and the data is just, you know, maybe I'm just crazy.
Democratic Republic of Congo is currently witnessing a brutal conflict, with recent reports placing the death toll at over 700 in its largest eastern city of Goma. This conflict in eastern DRC dates back to the 1990s. However, the present escalation is primarily due to the resurgence of a rebel group called M23, a group I will tell you about shortly. But first, let me show you what exactly is happening right now. The current escalation intensified in January 2025, resulting in the capture of Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, by the March 23 movement on January 27, 2025. The M23 rebel group is primarily composed of ethnic Tutsis and has been active in the eastern DRC for over a decade. Their resurgence in recent years is attributed to claims that the Congolese government failed to honor a 2009 peace agreement, which included integrating M23 fighters into the national army and addressing the protection of Tutsi communities against Hutu militias. Failure to meet their demands led to this renewed offensive, which started in late 2024. Since then, the group has seized significant territories.
I don't know if we can specifically say that it's those specific failures to meet those demands. Like, it's one of those things, you know how I'll say, I think such and such a thing would happen anyway, like the Iraq War. I think the Iraq War would have happened without the lies about weapons of mass destruction and trying to sell it to the public, right? They would have still invaded. So, like, another example, Syria. The offensive was launched because Assad was shelling civilians, but when isn't? Like, of course, they're always shelling shit, you know? And I think the offensive would have been launched regardless. Maybe not the same day. It may have gave them a reason to launch it, and they were waiting for a reason. You know what I mean?
North and South Kivu provinces. By January 23, 2025, they had cut off road connections to Goma and reached the city's outskirts by January 25. Despite resistance from the Congolese military, United Nations peacekeepers, and other regional forces, M23 breached defenses and entered Goma on January 27th, leaving many dead in their wake. But amidst all of this, the DRC government has accused a third party, Rwanda, of supporting M23 fighters, a claim supported by the United Nations. This is resulting in growing tensions between the two countries, threatening the peace and stability of this region of Africa. But why is this happening? Who are the other factions involved in this conflict? And is this the start of a regional war on the continent of Africa? In recent weeks, a lot of people have reached out to me to learn how to express or communicate their ideas in the form of full-length videos like I do. You know, the kind you've always wanted to create, the kind you'd be excited to share within your peers in the most seamless, intuitive way possible, irrespective of your skill level. Now, video AI enables you to do just that. All you have to do is type in the idea you want to create a video about. It's pretty game-changing. You can even edit whatever you like using simple text commands like add my voice.
I'm gonna let his ad
cool
play.
Is that?
It's
Now,
called
unlike
ethical
traditional
reacting.
video tools with steep learning curves that only solve parts of your video creation process.
Oh, he's got his own course too? Good for this guy, man. Great comment section too. I just found this channel, so I mean, this thumbnail is fucking excellent. I don't know if he's making his own thumbnails. I don't know if he's part of a company. I'll grab his Twitter too. Wow, it's still, you see that? The link still says twitter.com. Oh my goodness. This is what I love, is I like to look back, you can see just looking at thumbnails here, you know, seeing the evolution of a channel's thumbnails. It looks, this style I think is really, really good. It looks like it only started recently. I mean, there's like 100K jump, you know. Some of them are almost at 100K that are older, but see the production of his like old videos too. See if he's in front of a camera.
Buhari sinks 130 million Nigerians into poverty as one world-class hospital.
Got the bisexual lighting meta.
InVideo is the creative partner that you have always wanted. It removes all friction and puts you in the director's seat, letting you focus entirely on your vision and your idea while InVideo AI does all the heavy lifting. You can try InVideo AI for free today.
I don't
This will save
I
you
don't support using an AI for editing and taking the soul out of the work, but I do support this creator. I'll even flip myself to the other side of the screen so the name is visible.
hundreds of dollars that you would otherwise spend on editing, animating, and other production costs. Use the link in the description box below to start bringing your ideas to life today. Thank you InVideo for sponsoring this video. Now, let's jump right back into our story. To understand the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly in this eastern region, we need to talk about its deep historical roots with ties to colonial history, ethnic tension, resource exploitation, and international intervention. Now, don't worry, I promise not to bore you with so many details. In the late 19th century, King Leopold II of Belgium, a man who had never set his foot in Africa, looked upon a map and saw an opportunity. Not a land of people, of cultures, or of ancient kingdoms,
for the oil talking
but
point.
a land of...
It depends what you mean here. So I assume what you're talking about is a Dick Cheney quote when he says, like, he talks about securing the oil in Iraq. Okay? Now, expanding on this point also brings more criticism to the United States when you understand it fully, in my opinion. Now, Dick Cheney, his idea and philosophy of the situation is that they secure Iraq's economy as quickly as possible and that they can use that money to rebuild the state. Okay? The thing is, the small picture that happens here, they're securing oil and stuff while destroying infrastructure elsewhere. You know? And it's not like this is a short-term turnaround that you get from securing the oil fields. You know? Like, you have to refine that shit, sell that shit, all this stuff, right? In the meantime, there's kids dying from cholera because there's no clean water. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was actually no plan. Their plan was just secure the oil, money come, and then everything fine. So the short-sightedness of it is just, like, atrocious. Like, they obviously made money elsewhere, but as far as oil goes, this is another thing. This is like, if we cared so much about the oil, Iraq's two largest oil fields wouldn't be fucking controlled by Iranian loyalist militias.
Rubber, ivory, and boundless wealth. The Congo Free State, as he called it, became his personal property. A brutal empire where Congolese men and women and children had their hands cut off if they did not meet their daily rubber quotas. Leopold did not just steal resources, he stole futures. But the legacy of this brutality did not end when Belgium officially took over.
He's not exactly wrong here. And if I was condensing this period, I might do the same thing. But their hands weren't cut off for missing quotas. The Rwandan, or the Congolese people who were the enforcers, they had to account for every bullet they used. So if they used a bullet, they had to have a hand. So they would, if they used a bullet, and they needed a hand to then show that they used that bullet, it's related to the quotas, but not exactly. It's more about the actual militia who were doing the hand cutting than it is about the rubber workers there. And like, it's not like they weren't killing them for not meeting the quotas anyway.
Colony in 1908. The Congolese were never meant to rule themselves, not in the eyes of their colonizers. Education was limited, power was centralized in the hands of a select few, and deep ethnic divisions were
You say starting a war for economic reasons doesn't make sense. So you're telling me that Saddam invading Kuwait was stupid?
encouraged to ensure that unity would never come. This was called the divide and rule tactic. To the east of this tortured colony laid the kingdoms of Rwanda and Burundi. Small but powerful kingdoms ruled by the Tutsi aristocracy for centuries. When the Europeans arrived here, first the Germans, then the Belgians, they found a society already divided into two primary groups. The Tutsi, who were the elite headers who ruled this kingdom, and then we had the Hutu, who were farmers who worked the lands. But the Europeans saw something else. The Tutsis were tall, slender, with sharp features, more noble in appearance. This was enough for the Belgians to declare that the Tutsi were superior and natural-born rulers. The Belgians pursued a racist policy in Rwanda, stirring up hatred between Hutu and Tutsi in order to maintain their rule. And so, with the stroke of a pen and the issuance of identity cards, the Belgians turned an already complex social structure into a rigid racial caste system. For decades, the Belgians ruled the Tutsi, giving them access to education, wealth, and power, while the Hutu were pushed deeper into poverty and resentment.
Yeah, because it was. Yeah, that was the joke.
Independence. And suddenly, the Belgians, fearing the revolution they had set in motion, flipped the script. They began empowering the Hutu majority, encouraging them to overthrow their former Tutsi rulers. What followed was a bloodbath. In 1959, Rwanda erupted in the Hutu Revolution, a mass uprising that saw thousands of Tutsi killed, their homes burned, their power dismantled. Many fled east into the vast forests of the Congo, others into Uganda, where they sought refuge among the Congolese Tutsi communities that had lived there for centuries. As Rwanda struggled with this conflict, the neighboring Congo was getting set for its freedom from the Belgian Empire.
June 30th, 1960, independence comes to the Belgian Congo.
But just when this empire collapsed in the 1960s, the DRC fell into chaos. Shortly after the much anticipated independence, Patrice Lumumba, the DRC's first elected leader, was assassinated in a Western-backed coup. Mobutu Sese Seko, the man propped up by the CIA, seized control. He would later rename the country as Zaire, ruling his people with an iron fist for over 3 decades. Meanwhile, back in Rwanda, the Hutu made efforts to consolidate their power. But the exiled Tutsi never forgot what was taken from them. Many joined the Rwandan Patriotic Front, a rebel group formed by the Tutsis
I love this cutaway here for the voiceover, the visual. It's like a stock asset that just says TV broadcast, you know? And then at the bottom, it even has the lower third where it gives a little bit more details too.
Fled to Uganda. They were led by this guy, Paul Kagame, a man who would later shape the entire Great Lakes region.
I hate that guy.
In 1990, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, known as RPF, invaded northern Rwanda. This began the Rwandan Civil War. Although neither side gained a decisive advantage in the war, by 1992, mass demonstrations forced Rwanda's president, Juvenal Habyarimana, an ethnic Hutu, into a coalition with the domestic opposition and to sign the 1993 Arusha Accords with the RPF. But this ceasefire didn't last. On the evening of April 6, 1994, the aircraft carrying Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana and Burundian President Cyprien Ntaryamira, both ethnic Hutus, was shot down with surface-to-air missiles.
What's crazy about the invasion of Kuwait is that it potentially was a butterfly effect that killed him. Like, if he didn't invade Kuwait, he would still have to figure something out. probably, related to diplomacy instead of conflict might work there. But, like, Saddam might still be around today if he didn't invade Kuwait.
As their jet prepared to land in Kigali, Rwanda. Both men died in this attack, and from here, all hell broke loose. The Rwandan genocide began. And in just 100 days, nearly 1 million Tutsi were slaughtered by their Hutu neighbors. Kagame's RPF managed to break through enemy lines and stormed into Rwanda, overthrowing the Hutu government and taking power. But not before millions of Hutu refugees, including those responsible for this genocide, fled into this eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, still known as Zaire at the time. And there, among the forests and mountains, the seeds of today's conflict were sown. The Rwandan genocide did not end with Kagame's victory. It spilled over to Zaire, where Hutu militias known as the Interahamwe hid among civilian refugee camps. This guy, Mobutu Sese Seko, who had been ruling Zaire with an iron fist, welcomed these extremists as personal guests and allowed them to establish military and political bases in the eastern territories. From here, they attacked and killed ethnic Tutsis across the border in Rwanda and in Zaire itself. The new Rwandan government began sending military aid to the Zairean Tutsis in response. The resulting conflict began to destabilize eastern Zaire as a whole. Things then got to a boiling point when Mobutu's government issued an order in November 1996, forcing Tutsis to leave Zaire on penalty of death. From eastern Zaire, the rebels,
I
aided by
love
foreign government
mouthwash.
forces under the leadership of President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda and Rwandan Minister of Defense Paul Kagame, launched an offensive to overthrow Mobutu. Just when Hutu militias and genocide perpetrators thought they had found a place to regroup, another crisis much worse than what they had started.
He would have
back at
needed
home
not to
began.
get into a war with Iran. I think that war is a little more complicated. I don't want to say he didn't start it. He obviously did. It's very interesting how it starts because Saddam's planes were like flying on the border and they would go into Iran. And Iran was like, we can't engage them because we know that we fire the missiles, they're going to fly back over the border, so they get shot down in Iraq and have justification for war. And Saddam did this for a while, trying to get it to happen. And I want to say it does happening. I'd have to look into it again. It's such a niche thing about the war.
Deep in the heart of Kigali, Rwanda's capital, Kagame sat in his war room, his sharp eyes scanning the map before him. For 2 years, his intelligence operatives had been tracking Hutu extremists hiding in the forest of eastern Zaire. These were not just refugees, they were killers, the remnants of the Interahamwe, the Hutu militias that had butchered nearly 1 million Tutsi in 100 days during the Rwandan genocide of 1994. They had fled across the border, melting into UN-protected refugee camps, using them as human shields. But Kagame seemed to know their game. He turned to his closest ally, James Kabarabe, a Rwandan military officer who had been handpicked to lead the invasion into Zaire. The first shots rang out in October 1996. Kagame's forces, elite, disciplined, and fueled by vengeance, slipped across the border into eastern Zaire under the cover of darkness. The world had no idea what was coming. Officially, the attack was led by a new rebel group, the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo, AFDL, fronted by a shadowy Congolese figure known as Laurent Desire Kabila. But this was all a facade. The AFDL was Kagame's creation, sort of a Trojan horse meant to give the invasion the illusion of an internal Congolese rebellion. In reality, this was Rwanda's war. James Kabarabe led heavy...
Is it your opinion that Iran won the war? Because in my opinion, nobody won the war. I guess Saddam failed at his goals of annexing that region of Iran, which would be a win, but I don't know.
Assault on the refugees camps, shattering them within weeks. But Kagame's true objective wasn't just eliminating this extremist group. Remember this man, Mobutu Sese Seko, who welcomed these guys that killed his kinsmen? Yeah, he was the main target. For decades, Mobutu had ruled Zaire like a personal kingdom. He lived in golden palaces, flew in Concorde jets, and bled his nation dry, siphoning billions while his people starved. The West had once propped him up as a bulwark against communism, but now, with the Cold War over, he was nothing more than an aging relic of a forgotten era. Kagame knew that if Mobutu fell, Zaire would be his to shape. The march began in the east. Kagame's forces, now openly allied with Uganda's Yoweri Museveni and Angola's government, pushed westward, crushing Mobutu's ragged army in battle after battle. The Zairean military, bloated with corruption and unpaid for months, collapsed almost instantly. As Kagame's forces advanced, they left no room for resistance. Cities fell without warning. Bukavu, Goma, Kisangani, all gone within weeks. By March of 1997, Mobutu's regime was crumbling, his allies fleeing, his once loyal generals defecting. By the time Kagame's war machine reached the outskirts of Kinshasa, there was no sign of Mobutu. The corrupt leader who was receiving treatment for cancer had fled, exiled to Morocco, where he would die a few months later. On May 17, 1997, Laurent Desire Kabila walked into Kinshasa as the new ruler of the country. Zaire was dead. The Democratic Republic of the Congo was born. This war was supposed to be over. Kagame's forces had marched from the hills of Rwanda to the heart of Kinshasa in less than a year. Mobutu was dead. The old world was gone. A new Africa was being built. This was the thought of many. In reality though, Kagame still had unfinished business. He had won, but the Hutu extremists were not gone. Not all anyway. They had merely scattered, and Rwanda's hunt for them would never truly end. But Kabila, the man Kagame had installed as leader, was now under pressure from his people to get rid of the foreign powers interfering with internal affairs of the DRC. Soon enough, what had begun as Kagame's calculated war of revenge spiraled into something far greater and far darker. Laurent Desire Kabila was a man who had spent his life fighting in the shadows. He had watched Mobutu rule for 3 decades and had dreamed of the day he would take power. But now that he was president, he didn't feel like it. They called him a puppet, a man installed by Paul Kagame and Uganda's Yoweri Museveni. And then in 1998, just 1 year after taking power, Kabila made his move. He expelled all Rwandan and Ugandan military advisors from his government, publicly humiliating Kagame. He turned to Angola, Zimbabwe, and Namibia, forging a new alliance, one that had nothing to do with his old masters. This was practically declaring war on his former allies. And with this move, the Second Congo War began. August 1998, the invasion came like a storm. Rwanda and Uganda unleashed a 2-pronged assault, a war machine that had already conquered the Congo once before. Kigali's forces surged westward, seizing Goma and Bukavu in a matter of days. Ugandan forces swept in from the north, cutting off supply routes. A new rebel army called the Rally for Congolese Democracy, RCD, was created overnight, a carbon copy of the AFDL that had toppled Mobutu. Kagame thought it would be easy, but the Congo had changed. Kabila was no Mobutu. Unlike the weak corrupt dictator who had once ruled Zaire, Kabila was a warrior. He had bled for this land, and he had something Mobutu never had: allies who were willing to die for him. In a matter of months, the Second Congo War had turned to the largest conflict Africa had ever seen. On one side stood Rwanda, Uganda and Burundi, backing their new rebel army, the RCD, and trying to install a more obedient leader in Kinshasa. On the other side, Kabila rallied an African coalition unlike anything the continent had ever seen. Angola was eager to prevent Rwanda and Uganda from taking control of Central Africa. Zimbabwe, where Robert Mugabe sent thousands of troops to protect his economic interests in Congo mines. Namibia joining the fight to preserve its regional alliances, Sudan fueling the chaos in retaliation for Uganda's past support of Sudanese rebels. Chad, Libya and even North Korea, each pouring in weapons, money and mercenaries to keep Kabila in power. The war became a battlefield stretching across thousands of miles from the rolling savannas of Katanga to the dense, suffocating jungles of Ituri. Kagame had expected another swift victory. Instead, he had walked into the African World War. Kabila knew that the only way to survive was to hold out longer than Kagame expected. But Kabila's enemies were not just on the battlefield. On January 16, 2001, inside his presidential palace, Laurent Desire Kabila was gunned down by one of his own guards. Kabila's son, Joseph Kabila, was hastily sworn in as president in place of his father. In a matter of months, he brokered a peace deal in 2002. Foreign troops withdrew. The war was declared over. But declaring a war over and actually ending it are two different things. As hostilities reduced between Rwanda and the DRC, it morphed into more of proxy warfare using armed rebel groups. When the war ended, the world tried to force a new order on the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The peace deal said that all rebel groups had to lay down their arms and be integrated into the DRC's national army. For some, this was an escape, a way to finally stop fighting. For others though, it seemed like a death sentence. Among those who resisted were the Congolese Tutsi, men who had fought alongside Rwanda during the war, men who had seen what happened to their kind when they were left defenseless. They were led by a silent warrior, a man who had survived war and exile, Laurent Nkunda. Nkunda refused to accept a peace that left his people vulnerable. According to him, Hutu militias, the same groups that had committed the 1994 genocide, were still lurking in the jungles, still organizing and plotting. The Congolese government, he claimed, was harboring their enemies. And so, in 2004, Nkunda and his men broke away from the army and formed a new rebellion group, the CNDP, known as National Congress for the Defense of the People. They were not done fighting. Now, to understand the M23 movement, you must first understand what it meant to the Tutsi in the Congo. For centuries, Tutsi communities had lived in eastern Congo, long before colonial borders were even drawn. But after the Rwandan genocide of 1994, hundreds of thousands of Rwandan Hutu fled into the Congo, many of them guilty of slaughtering Tutsis back home. This jungle soon became a graveyard of revenge. Rwandan-backed forces had hunted the Hutu extremists across the forest in the First and Second Congo Wars, but they were never fully eradicated. By the time 2003 came, those same genocidal groups, the FDLR, that is the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, were still attacking Congolese Tutsi villages, and the Congolese government reportedly did nothing about this. This was why Nkunda and his men fought back. With Rwanda's silent backing, Nkunda's CNDP waged a brutal campaign in eastern Congo, clashing with the national army, seizing territory and defending Tutsi communities. By 2008, Nkunda's forces captured Goma, the capital of North Kivu, humiliating the Congolese government as a result. But then, the game changed. Rwanda was now careful about its image, and it decided Nkunda had become more of a liability. Rwanda would arrest Nkunda, and in return, Congo would help fight the remaining Hutu rebels. In 2009, Nkunda was betrayed, arrested by Rwandan forces, and placed under house arrest. the CNDP was absorbed into the Congolese army, and its fighters were promised high-ranking positions and protection. The war was supposed to be over at this point. But as we have come to see, wars in the Congo never end, not when other special interests are involved. The CNDP fighters did as they were told. They laid down their arms, they joined the national army, and they waited. But the Congolese government, it lied. The government allegedly failed to fulfill its promises.
The government lying.
And worst of all, it failed to deal with the FDLR, the Hutu genocidal militia still hiding in the jungles, still attacking Tutsi civilians. In April of 2012, a group of ex-CNDP soldiers mutinied, led by a man named Bosco Ntaganda, a ruthless commander nicknamed the Terminator. They declared the new rebellion the March 23rd movement, known as M23. It was named after the March 23, 2009 peace deal that the Congolese government had failed to honor. The rebels moved with deadly precision, and within months they had captured Goma, just like Nkunda had done years before. The Congolese army collapsed, just as it always had. But this time, the world was watching. Rwanda was accused of backing M23, fueling the rebellion just as it had done in the past. The UN threatened sanctions. The pressure continued to mount, but this group refused to give in. By 2013, Kagame pulled his support, and M23 was forced to retreat into Uganda and Rwanda. For nearly a decade, M23 waited in the shadows, watching and hoping that the DRC government would uphold its side of the bargain. Then in 2021, the same old wounds were reopened. By 2022, M23 had re-emerged, stronger, deadlier, and better organized. This was no longer just a rebellion. It seems more than just a war for survival even. All evidence now points to resource extraction and control. And this brings us to the recent violence we're witnessing in Eastern DRC. But what does Rwanda want? Why does it continue to involve itself in this unending violence ravaging the DRC? Rwanda's involvement in the Democratic Republic of the Congo conflict is driven by a mix of security concerns, economic interests, and geopolitical ambitions. Since the 1994 Rwandan genocide, remnants of these Hutu extremist groups continue to be active in Eastern DRC. Rwanda considers it a direct threat to its national security. The Rwandan government has since justified its military interventions in Eastern Congo as efforts to eliminate this FDLR before they can launch attacks into Rwanda. However, some have argued that Rwanda is exaggerating the FDLR threat to justify its prolonged intervention. Question though is why? The short answer to that is economic interest. Eastern DRC, you see, is one of the richest mining regions in the world, containing gold, coltan, tin, diamonds, and cobalt, which is essential for high-tech industries. Reports including UN investigations accuse Rwanda of looting minerals from Congo by backing rebel groups like M23. You see, Rwanda has no significant mineral reserves, yet it continues to export large amounts of coltan and gold, which...
He's nailing it. He's nailing it. Isn't this the point that I continually make? Essentially, Rwanda does not produce gold. Why is their highest export gold?
It comes from illegal mining in the DRC. By controlling parts of North and South Kivu, Rwanda benefits from smuggling and exporting minerals through Kigali. Another reason why Rwanda may want to maintain its presence in the DRC is regional influence and military dominance. Under President Paul Kagame, Rwanda has positioned itself as a regional military power in Central Africa. Rwanda wants to establish itself as a key player in African security affairs, influencing not just the DRC, but the broader Great Lakes region. And despite public condemnation by the West, these powerful governments continue to fraternize
wants
with
to
Kagame
be Kenya
when it
so
benefits
bad.
them. And then another reason for Kagame's presence in the DRC is the Tutsi-Hutu dynamics. Rwanda, under Kagame, who is a Tutsi leader, seeks to protect Tutsi communities in Eastern Congo. M23, the main rebel group Rwanda backs right now, is composed of Tutsi fighters, and Kagame sees them as an extension of his regional influence. By supporting M23, Rwanda ensures that Tutsi interests in Eastern Congo are protected against Hutu and Congolese militias hostile towards Rwanda. So, is Rwanda's strategy working? Well, short term, yes. Rwanda has maintained indirect control over parts of the DRC through rebel groups like M23 and profited from mineral smuggling. Long term though, it's kind of tricky. International pressure is growing against Rwanda's involvement. South Africa and Angola are sending troops to challenge Rwanda's influence. The DRC is strengthening its military ties with the US and European allies. All this pose a problem for Kigali. But what's up with South Africa?
I don't know if South Africa is... I'm not 100% sure on their military troops situation on what they're going to respond with. Because on the South African news that we watch, I've seen some conflicting things.
How do they fit into all of this? The escalating conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo is triggering serious tensions between South Africa and Rwanda, with the possibility of a direct confrontation between the two countries. In January, at least 13 South African soldiers were killed in an attack by M23 rebels, who are allegedly backed by Rwanda. This incident outraged South African leaders, as it was one of the deadliest attacks on their forces in years. In response to the attack, South African Defense Minister stated that Rwanda was responsible for arming M23 and indirectly for the death of South African troops. South Africa has warned that any further attacks on its forces will be considered a declaration of war. This marks one of the strongest public condemnation of Rwanda's role in the conflict by another African nation. Rwandan President Kagame dismissed South Africa's accusation, suggesting that South Africa lacks credibility in peacekeeping efforts. Kagame has also implied that South Africa is being manipulated by the DRC government, which is using foreign troops to fight a war it cannot win on its own. This rhetoric has increased tensions between the two countries, with diplomatic relations becoming strained in the process. But what is the implication of all of this? Is Africa going to war? If the AU fails to prevent an all-out regional conflict, it could weaken its credibility as a peacekeeping institution. Failing to handle this conflict through diplomacy might lead to increased militarization in Africa. And if South Africa escalates its involvement in Eastern DRC, other African countries might follow suit. Angola has already deployed troops to Eastern Congo, and other SADC nations like Zimbabwe, Namibia, Tanzania could choose to join. This could lead to a military build-up across Africa, with more nations prioritizing armed intervention over diplomacy. This is still a developing story, and we hope it doesn't get into a full-scale regional conflict. For now though, the people of Goma are the victims of this situation, and I can't possibly imagine what they might be going through at this time. We'll continue to urge our leaders to make the right decision and end this violence before it gets out of hand. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Nungu Mampile says she's battling to come to terms with how her daughter's life cut short. A 31-year-old daughter lost her life a few hours after being transported to this community healthcare center. Mpile says her child's death was avoidable.
That is why I'm very hurt. That is why I'm asking for an explanation to find out what led to the death of my daughter and grandchild. Maybe I was going to understand if one of them was still alive. Maybe then I would get closure. Maybe then I would know at least my daughter received help.
The grieving mother, who is taking legal action, says she's fighting to get justice for the two lives lost.
Justice in truth. All I'm asking for is justice. My daughter left behind a child. I want answers so that I can be able to explain to him how his mother died.
Meanwhile, the Provincial Department of Health says it is conducting an investigation.
As a provincial department, we convey our deepest condolences to the bereaved family following the loss of their loved one in Dorp area. We can also confirm that the department is finalizing its investigation on this matter and will be updating the family on progress that
crazy. Watch it spits out.
To go through, there's this whole series that I did that same year in 2019 where almost every single day of February I posted something that had to do with Black history, with microaggressions, or whatever woke Black cause I wanted people to have more awareness of. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to look uncomfortable. But
all right, I'm flipping to Twitch only because Restream doesn't have the connection quality that I want to make my life easy, and the main segment there about Ethan and Hassan is mainly for YouTube because they love it over there. They love clicking that shit. So just refresh if you're on Twitch and it